The fire began.
It is Victory Monday right here. We are live like we always are on Mondays from Pike's Pub right here in beautiful Bucks County, Southampton, PA, 455 2nd Street Pike, right across from the new Dunkin' Donuts next to the wonderful Angelo's in Southampton Beverage. Get down here as always as we are live for the next 3 hours. As always, got some fantastic guests like we always do. Got my man JB by Best Sports in the World.com. Can't wait to get him on, talk about some Sixers, some basketball, some Philly sports as always. Got my man Japan checking in like we always do. We got double Monday Night Football games tonight, which is going to be really, really interesting, right? We're going to get down to. And he's going to always have some little UFC story for us as well. And then we got my man Jimmy Mack, who's live right here in the flesh like we is every Monday. Break down what the hell is going on with the Philadelphia Phillies. And, you know, we got to find out, man, are we missing the boat? Are we overestimating the market? Are we underestimating the market? Is everybody underestimating the market? And what is the next shoe to drop? Because it feels like everybody's losing a shoe except us. As always, live right here on all social formats. This is the Tony Cutillo Show. I am your host, Tony Cutillo, as always, produced and always by RisingReactMedia.com. And all the bets, like we always do. We got some live bets for the game tonight. We got some live NBA bets, powered by OddsShopper Tails as well. You can get my page on there where I drop about 5 to 10 bets every single day and 2 to 3 parlays that we love to try and hit. But man, it's Victory Monday, man. Like it is Victory Monday. The Birds win. I don't know how else to do it except to give us a little fight song, right? So we had a fantastic victory yesterday, right? And we're going to talk about that. So live checking in. If you're on Facebook checking, my man Jake just walked in. Again, check in live comments on YouTube because guess what? We're not really going to see them on Facebook. So make sure you get here on X or on Twitch or on YouTube. And again, man, we are ready. This is the way you wake up on a Monday morning, man. It's the way you wake up on a Monday morning, and that's what we did, man. We were chanting that. They were chanting at the fans like they always do. But I will say this, you know, I love to react right here like we always do on every Monday. And one of the biggest things that I think that we really have to look at is I'm so happy that I saw a couple of the people that I associate with on social media, you know, not to give any of those national pundits and outlets any time. Happy holidays if I don't see it. And you know, don't give them any time, man, because all they're going to do is they're going to leech on you positively or negatively, try to ride the traffic because we have the most intelligent, educated, and most popular fan base in all of sports. And they know that their career depends on what we do as far as fabricated clicks and traffic, right? So I am glad that people decided not to buy into that. And I am glad for the people that did, okay, that actually said, yo, I was wrong. But see, here's the problem. A lot of people were wrong all year long. And, you know, it takes a specific time period to be able to adjust in the National Football League, in any league for that matter, right? Well, you have new coaches, you have new schemes, you have new players. You have to adjust to those schemes. You have to adjust to those plays. You have to adjust to those players. I mean, this is how it rolls, man. And we saw that. We saw the wins. We saw a couple losses, right? But now, if you look at our next 3 games, Washington, big test again, right? And then we have 2 more, Giants, right? And Cowboys. I mean, essentially we could be looking at a win out scenario, right? But here's the thing I will say about Washington. We have to really, really, really be careful. One thing I don't worry about is this team looking ahead. This team does not look ahead. Like, honestly, this team does not look ahead. And that's what's fantastic about it, right? They don't look ahead. They always take the week-to-week approach. And I think that's huge. And I think that's why we are winning the way we are winning right now. That's why we are able to get past all the negativity, right? And again, some of it is brought it on by ourselves. Some of it is brought it on by other people. But one thing yesterday that I want to break down, and again, everybody has listened to this all day long. If you listen to the dial, I'm sure there's a lot of different things that you probably listen to. And I'm not going to bore you for 3 hours and talk about the same thing over and over again. And that's why we mix it up, right? Because I want to talk to other people too who probably lost in their fantasy football championship or playoffs yesterday. Because guess what? Saquon Barkley and Derrick Henry did absolutely nothing. Right? I mean, who got killed by Lamar Jackson? I mean, so many things happened, right? You had the Denver Broncos again winning like they continue to do out there on Sean Payton with Bo Nix, who had a terrible first half, who comes back and has a tremendous second half. And we've seen him do that. So we're going to get into all that. We're going to get into the basketball world, right? We're going to talk about what's going on with the Sixers, but not just the Sixers. What's going on with the entire NBA? Like, I asked this question a few weeks ago, like, do you watch the NBA anymore? I do. I honestly do, because I love the game of basketball. But I will tell you that there's nights where it is extremely tough, right? It is extremely tough to be able to watch the NBA right now. But all that being said, let's get back to the subject at hand, the topic at hand here on a Victory Monday with the Philadelphia Eagles and the way that they – I'm not going to say dominate. I don't like that word because I just don't. You don't really dominate anybody. But I will say this, man. You out-muscled one of the most physical teams in all of the NFL. You out-muscled that team. And I, for one, am a huge Mike Tomlin fan. And I follow the Steelers because I am a huge fan of Mike Tomlin. One of my great friends is a true in and true out Steelers fan. My mom has watched the Steelers since I've been a teenager, right? So I've always felt some kind of semblance to this team. But one thing I always knew is that defensive line, whether it be Casey Hayward, whether it be Highsmith, whether it be Watt, these guys, they make other people look small. But what we did was we made them look small yesterday. And I think that was huge. I do. I think that was one of the most important takeaways from this game. It wasn't about the passing. It wasn't about the running. It wasn't about Jalen Hurts. No, it was about the physicality that we were able to unleash on a team that supposedly was supposed to be more physical than us. And it didn't happen. I mean, we could talk about that 10-minute drive all day long in the fourth quarter, right? We could talk about that 10-minute drive all day long in the fourth quarter, because that right there is the essence of why this team is able to win the way they have been able to win. Another point, again, if you're live checking in, we got about 168 people checking in live, whether it be YouTube, whether it be Twitch, whether it be X, whether it be Facebook, you name it. Listen, like I say all the time, get over to YouTube. Very, very simple. Type in TONY CUTILLO man. Right there, boom. Like I said, starting a whole brand new page right for the Tony Cutillo Show. You get on there, you get right on. Again, if you would like to be a part of the program, the call-in line is open. Okay, very simple. I'm going to post it like I always do. And this is very simple, man. All you need to do, if you have a phone, you don't need a camera, you don't need a microphone, you just need a phone. It's a phone call. Okay, it's right there. You're going to see it right there. Just click on that link and boom, guess what? It will insert you directly into the show. That's what's huge. And I forgot one of the pages, which I'm going to throw on here right now, because I don't want to leave out one of my audience. Because, again, as I'm doing this, the problem is, it takes some time when you're on social media to be able to get yourself into specific platforms. And sometimes when you create new accounts, it takes some time. So obviously take some time right here. And I'm going to go back on this as we are live. There we go. And again, if you want to get on, that's the link right there. Literally, my man Christian on the other night, Man, he clicked on it. Boom. He was in the green room. He was on. We talked about, we broke down the entire Saturday night's main event when it comes to wrestling. Because, yes, I do talk wrestling as well, because that is one of my favorite sports, entertainment, whatever you want to say. But one of the most important things I want to touch on was not necessarily the 10 minutes and 29 seconds. Okay, but what I wanted to touch on was with the way we are allowing these teams, okay, or I should say our team, to rest within the game. We are allowing us to rest within the game. It is one of the biggest storylines. It's not even being talked about. You're watching the Detroit Lions they're being decimated by injuries, right? Which sucks. I don't wish that on anybody. Right? Never do that. It's some bad karma. That's some bad juju, right? If you start doing that. But what I will say is, look at it the way we've seen this before on multiple games where we've rested guys for an entire quarter. We've had drives where the game was already in hand. Your defense is resting. They're sitting there on the sidelines. They're wearing coats. They're wearing gloves. They're not even playing. Right? And again, this is what is so huge about what we've been able to do this year. This is what has been so huge about this team. And yes, we're going to pick apart certain things here and there. We're going to talk about, you saw the people talk about the Jalen Carter incident yesterday, and Nick Sirianni and Clint Hurt, who, by the way, I said this in the offseason, that Clint Hurt was one of those enforcers, one of those guys that was a huge hire coming over from the Seattle Seahawks, a defensive line coach. So we definitely are talking about that, because, again, that was a way to just basically say, yo, I'm handling it, right? It was, yo, I'm handling it. And that is where, again, I used to bury Nick Sirianni for being over the top, right? For let's just coach the team, man. Like, I don't need all the extras. Like, I'm not saying you can't be a cheerleader, but eventually, give a little fist bump. That's cool, right? A little shimmy shake. That's cool. But when you start getting crazy and dropping F-bombs and screaming at it's just, bro, you're not supposed. It's just out of hand now. And what happens is, what you're showing your team is you're undisciplined. So if you're undisciplined, your team is going to be undisciplined. So I like, what's up, Brian? I like exactly what he was able to do yesterday, and even the last few weeks, to kind of hold himself down a little bit, right? And you saw my man Clint, like, I wouldn't mess with Clint in a barroom brawl, right? But that dude was like, yo, like, instantly, like, it just shut it right down. You even saw Jalen Carter laughing and grimacing in the background, and then obviously they didn't show the other part, because the media will never show you what happened afterwards, where they all hugged it out and were laughing and giggling on something. They don't show you that. They don't want you to see that. They want you to see the adversity, the controversy. Because, again, these national broadcasts, they got to make their money and their sponsorships and their clickbait and their traffic. It's so nauseating. It's ridiculous. Again, we're live right here. Tony Cutillo Show, live from Pike's Pub right here, 455 2nd Street, Pike, Southampton, PA. We got a host of guests coming up, man, 6:30-ish. We got my man, JB. You can see him behind the camera when we talk about Fox 29 as the camera guy for Mrs. Alex Holly and Mr. Mike Jarrett right there on the Fox 29 show. You can see him on bestintheworldsports.com, which he has his own podcast, which he does a fantastic job. Him and my man Jonesy talking about all things, and talk about whether it be football, basketball, baseball, hip hop. He's got his own Philly Flow. PhillyFlow.com. I think I got that right. We'll make sure, where he broadcasts his own radio station, where his own music, his own playlist. My man's doing it all, man. Another guy wearing 3 hats, man. And another guy that you're not going to see the same guy over and over again, right? Same guy on the radio, same guy on let's get the same guest. I never understood how that works. We're going to book one guest on 35 different channels that says the same goddamn thing. I don't understand. I get you want the audience, but everybody's heard the same damn thing over and over and over and over. Like, it's ridiculous. Get some different people on, right? Get some different people on. And that's what I'm trying to do right here on the Tony Cutillo Show. Open you guys up, and girls, obviously, to some more very, very talented and educated individuals when it comes to not just sports, man. A lot of different other things going to be coming up through the Pike as well. And again, we're just not just Philly talk, all sports, national as well, and noteworthy topics, which again, youth sports and things of that nature. We're going to get into that as well. But what about this scenario too? You know, a lot of people had said, and I was not one of them because I actually drafted the guy as a handcuff and I really liked him. And I still like him. And you see why is I was always a Kenny G guy, man. I was a Gainwell guy, consistently was a Gainwell guy. I said, this dude has got the size. He's got the athletic ability. He's got the motor. He's got the desire. He's got the hunger, right? To be able a really, really, really solid number 2 back, right? On a team that we knew he was only going to get 5 to 6 carries a game. But when he needed to step into action, what he did yesterday, again, showed everybody what he's capable of. Shows everybody that he can do some things. Listen, for all these people, like I hear these a bunch of idiots out there. Oh, he's not Saquon. Who the hell would say he is? Right? It has nothing to do with being Saquon. When you lose a guy of, like look at Tennessee, out there, they have 2 guys, Pollard and Spears, right? They're essentially kind of the same guys, right? But if you lose in New Orleans, if you lose to Alvin Kamara, there's nobody going to step in, right? Kendra Miller is not going to step in and be Alvin Kamara. Right? Jamal Williams is not going to step in and be Alvin Kamara. They're just going to be a stepping stone, right? Meaning there's a piece to try to at least push through. I think Gainwell's more of a piece. I do. When we won, the Super Bowl with LeGarrette Blount and Jay Ajayi and Corey Clement, right? We had that 3-headed system. Now, we don't have that here because obviously we have Saquon Barkley who's going to get the ball 18 to 23 times as long as he's healthy. But to have a guy like Kenny G that can get you 10 touches a game. And again, remember, he's worked a ton on ball security. He's like a ton on blitz pickup. And that was his only issue. Blitz pickup really was the only issue for Kenny Gainwell to get more clock. And I will say this, that it shows that he's been able to work. And not only Kenny Gainwell, but, you go to the defensive side of the ball. And I don't know if you're watching my man Jalen Hunt out there. And again, he's raw. I get it. Like, he is so raw. I understand that. But I would tell you this, man, about Jalen Hunt. The reason why they drafted this guy is because they said he was a freak. Meaning he was an athletic freak. Okay? And I'll tell you what, when you get an athletic freak like that, and you can mold him into a player, let's look at Jordan Mailata, right? Everybody said, why are you drafting Jordan Mailata? Right? And I'll talk about that. This guy went 7th round. The guy's one of the best left tackles in football, right? Because you have the people in place in order to develop the talent. That's huge. We didn't have that last year. Now, that's no disrespect to Sean Desai and Brian Johnson, but again, you brought these guys in, man. You brought these veteran guys, especially Vic Fangio, man. Especially Vic Fangio. Like, ridiculous, man. I just heard a stat. I can't remember what it was, but since 1989, not being able, I think, was holding an opponent under 20 points or something like that for a specific amount of time. Or like we haven't done this in 30, 40 years. Like it's insane what we're doing right now on the defensive side of the ball. I think I'm not going to say I'm positive about this, but I'm pretty sure we're the youngest defensive football. Like collectively, we are the youngest defensive football. And that's crazy when you think about that. Like, how many times did we bitch and moan in this town about why can't we get young guys to produce? Why can't we get the guys to play? Well, guess what? You don't only get one of them. You got many. You got various ones. You got multiple ones. I mean, listen, Quintanamo Bay, which I love that. Again, that's awesome with Quinyon Mitchell, who is an absolute. Listen, if he's not off our defensive rookie of the year, I don't know who is, right? I mean, the way that this guy is just considerably shut down. Did you see Terry McLaurin yesterday? Did you see that game Terry McLaurin had yesterday? What he had against Quinyon Mitchell? Nothing, right? You're seeing these guys that are getting these unbelievable games against other teams, but not when they come like Philly, man. Like, you remember that year when Andy Reid drafted Lito Shepherd, Sheldon Brown, right? Michael Lewis. And we were all sitting there going, man, he basically invested in an entire secondary, right? And listen, Quinyon Mitchell is obviously light years ahead of any of those guys. But Lito Shepherd had a really good Eagles career. Sheldon Brown obviously was really gritty like a poor man's, I would say, Cam Chancellor, right? Really, really good hard hitter. Wasn't a great coverage guy, but he had a very good intellect as a secondary member. And it allowed him to recognize packages and understand scheme. And again, for his shortcomings of coverage ability, right? So that's how professionals get above that next level. So looking at that and look at what we have now with him and Cooper DeJean, who again, listen, you see what kind of player Cooper DeJean is, right? You see Cooper DeJean didn't have a terrible game, but again, like Adam Thielen showed some of his deficiencies, right? He's a young guy. Of course he's going to make mistakes, but the thing is, how does he react? Right? How does he compensate? Right? How does he come back? Does he just quit? Does he say, you know what? I'm never going to be. No, he went in to work all week and he came out and he was studly once again. So that's secondary. I can't say it enough, man. I can't say it enough. And then you talk about obviously what's going on with CJ Gardner-Johnson, another guy that is being overlooked in my opinion of how good he's been this year. A guy we sorely missed, right? Sorely missed when we let him go. And this is again, I love looking at some of these decisions because we've all questioned them, right? We did. We all, everybody, right? We have to. That's what we do. See, that's the thing. Just because we're overly critical isn't because we like hate our team. No, we love it, man. Like we are overly critical because we want to see things happen, and we understand. And when they let CJ Gardner-Johnson go, I wouldn't have paid him that money either, right? I get it, even though it was technically a one-year deal the way it was structured, but still, he had to be humbled, right? He had to be humbled, and he comes back. We showed that we missed him, right? He comes back and he's playing above and beyond, what he was playing for us before. We're getting a lot of contributions on this team in a variety of different areas. I mean, we don't even have to touch on the linebackers because we talked about them week in and week out. We talked about how studly our linebackers are. We talked about, how good our defensive line has been with no blitz. How about Nolan Smith? Right? We're talking about, like, here's a guy, pass rushing specialist. It's so funny. If you think back on a lot of our young defensive linemen over the years, especially on the edge, right? Like edge rushers. A lot of them, we've seen it, right? We've seen that it takes them some time. It takes them some time in order to basically get acclimated to a scheme, especially when you have a veteran defensive coordinator like Vic Fangio. I mean, you remember, guys didn't just come in for Jim Johnson and automatically produce, right? It took them a little time to understand the logic behind some of the play calling, right? We all understood that. And we watched guys really excel, right? After a couple years, Derek Burgess, Trent Cole, right? We watched these guys that, we waited and waited and waited. Oh, guess what, man? Like Nolan Smith is damn near one of those guys, right? He is damn near one of those guys. He's doing exactly what we expected him to do, but he's doing it a little late, but that's okay. It's okay. And that's why I always say it's okay. It's the fact that they are continuing to work and they are continuing to produce. Now, looking ahead, we have to feel really good about thank you, Buffalo. Thank you, Sean McDermott. And thank you for what the Buffalo Bills did to the Detroit Lions. But all the people that are talking about the Buffalo Bills, which, again, fantastic team. But the Buffalo Bills, they couldn't stop anybody either. Like, no defense yesterday in that game. Zero. Like, zero defense. Now, the Lions, not trying to give them a mulligan here, but lot of injuries, right? A lot of injuries. And one thing about the Lions, this is where the only thing I worry for the Detroit fans is the Dan Campbell effect, right? Dan Campbell, in his infinite wisdom, was constantly just put the foot to the pedal, right? Just keep it pressed, floor it all game long, 60 points, 50 points, like just keep it going. Quick drives, right? Remember, I think it was what the game, Jared Goff had like 88 yards and 4 touchdowns, right? They were up so bad. But what does that do? That tires out your defense, dude. That defense is on the field more than any other defense in the NFL. Like, that's a problem. And they're tired now. They're friggin' exhausted. And not only they're exhausted, they're hurt. They're getting hurt week in and week out. And they're pretty significant injuries. Now, today they lose an offensive guy in David Montgomery. But again, it's just, you have to be smart. I get it, right? I get it. You want to go all in. You want to say, I'll keep the momentum, keep the tempo, keep going. But eventually, you have to think of your players, right? That's what killed Chip Kelly. Right, that's what killed the Chip Kelly effect, right? The guys were so friggin' tired. Like, they were always on and off the field so quick. They were scoring at will, but they couldn't stop anybody because they didn't have no time to friggin' breathe. So a lot of that is what happened, in my opinion, in Detroit. A lot of that is what's happening in Detroit. So I'm telling you, I told you before, I wasn't worried about Detroit. And I will say this, and I will continue to say it, and this is not going to be a very popular opinion, okay? But offensively, right? Offensively, if you told me, okay, who do I want as a collective mind? You know, when I need to score points and I need to break down an opposing defense, I'm sorry, but right now, looking at the way it is, I would take Sean McVay any day over Nick Sirianni, right? I would take Matthew Stafford and McVay to go into over Goff and Campbell. Are you kidding me? Like Goff does nothing to show me that I can trust him in a big game, in the playoffs. He just doesn't show. Look, I hope he proves me wrong. I don't know. Just not against us, right? Just not against us. But I just look at it as this dude's still, he's not that guy. He's not that guy. Now, Jalen showed that he's got it up here, man. That's the thing about Jalen Hurts. And that's what a lot of people underestimate. Jalen Hurts has it up here. Jalen Hurts understands the way, the ebbs and flows of a football game. Jalen Hurts understands what he needs to do and when he needs to do it. He doesn't need people to tell him, like A.J. Brown, that they need to pass more, right? He doesn't need to tell people to tell him when he needs to take off and run in the pocket. And I want to ask about that, too, because I know a lot of people everybody checking in. Make sure you check it in on YouTube, because I am not getting the comments that are coming in, like I always tell you guys, off of Facebook. And third-party software, sometimes they do not show up. So again, get on YouTube, Tony Cutillo Show. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you get it right there. Boom. If you want to get on the line, phone line is open. All you need to do is click on this link right here on your smartphone. You call up and put you in the green room, put you right on the show. You have a point, let me know. What are you thinking? Here's what I say about this. You know, I look at Jalen Hurts. A couple people were saying he holds onto the ball too long. You know, I don't disagree. He's waiting and he wants something to happen. He wants to make something happen with his arm and not his legs. I get that, right? But people were killing him again over that today. But let me ask you, did you watch the Buffalo game? Josh Allen does the same goddamn thing, but nobody's tearing him apart. Everybody's talking MVP. Okay, well, he got sacked. He gives up bad hits. He throws the ball away, intentional grounding. He holds onto the ball way too long, right? But nobody says nothing against Josh. So I don't understand. Again, Patrick Mahomes the same way. Everybody loves Mahomes, right? Everybody loves Mahomes. That's because they want him to be the face of the NFL. So he can't do any wrong, right? He's always being brought up because the Kansas City Chiefs are now America's team. They are America's team. Andy Reid is America's coach, and Patrick Mahomes is America's quarterback. That's what they want. They are the face of the NFL, right? And now that you have I'm not even going to say her name, but you know who in the fray, right? Now, they want everyone wants a part of the Chiefs, man. Everybody wants a part of the Chiefs, right? So you're not going to get that notoriety over those guys. And I understand that, but you cannot continue to kill the guy for doing the same thing the other guy is doing. That's the one thing I don't understand. And I will not get. And I just think that, you know, we had that problem in this town. Again, when it had come to whether you like them or not, Donovan McNabb. And again, you know, Donovan was another guy who I don't think we ever, you know, not hated. I mean, we threw out the haterade for D-Mac, right? Who is, again, whether you like it or not, to me, best quarterback in Philadelphia Eagles history. You could argue with me that all day long. I'll go back and forth with you. It's fine. That's no disrespect against the other guys, but he was. Whether we like him or not, I mean, right? It's fine. It's fine. It ain't Jaws. Jones ain't the best quarterback in Philadelphia Eagles history, right? It's Donovan McNabb. Say what you want, right? And if you listen again, you don't look at it, constructively. But again, that's my opinion. I'm not going to tell you you're wrong. I'm just going to say I feel you're wrong, right? If you don't think that, and I think again with Jalen Hurts, it's the same kind of deal, man. It's the same kind of deal. This dude can't do no wrong. I mean, can't do no right. Like he can have the best game in the world, and you're going to pick apart every little thing he does. I mean, do you like? I don't understand. Do people watch other football? Like I always ask that. Like, do people watch other football? Do you watch other teams? Like, no. Everybody looks at fantasy football and looks at stats. That's it. Look, they don't watch the game. They watch one game, right? Which is fine. But if you watch one game, you need to stick to one game. Right? If you watch one game, you need to stick to that game. Don't be giving me breaking down Matthew Stafford when you ever watch him throw a pass, right? All because you watched the NFL box score and said, "Oh, he threw 2 interceptions." You have no idea how he threw it. You have no idea what the play was. You don't know if it was a Hail Mary. You have no idea. But you're in there running your mouth, right? That's the thing. You're out there running your mouth. So now, if you are watching the game, right? If you are watching the game, that's fine. That's fine. Then you can break it down. And then we could have a conversation. But the same thing's going on with Jalen Hurts right now. Same thing's going on with Jalen Hurts. And if you're not respecting what he's been able to do this year, okay, and you're not giving him his flowers yet, you're just a stray hater, right? That's all you are. It's simple. You should want this team to win, right? You should want this team to win, right? We should not be sitting there analyzing our quarterback today. If we are breaking our quarterback down today in any kind of negative sense, then, man, you need to drop your Eagles card in the post office and get off a microphone, get off a blog, get off of social media, and just shut it down, right? We are here to win 3 more games. Very simple. And I don't know what everybody's, but I'm very confident, like, that we're getting this number 1 seed. Very, very confident that we're going to be getting this number 1 seed. Are you confident that we're going to get this number 1 seed? Now, besides the number 1 seed, speaking of number 1, man, we got 2 Monday Night Football games tonight as well. That, again, I don't know if they're going to be entertaining or not. Who knows? But pretty big game for us, right? Because we need those Minnesota Vikings to lose a game. And I'm for one that says I don't think Minnesota's that good. I don't see it. And I watch the games. Again, Sam Darnold, he can be pressed. Sam Darnold has the same issue that Kirk Cousins has, right? That you're going to watch play against the Vegas Raiders afterward. Well, not after it's a doubleheader. It comes on at 8:30, 8 o'clock first game, 8:30 Falcons and Raiders. But what you're gonna miss, if you watch both. Well, if you watch the Vikings game first, you're going to see if he gets pressure by the Bears that he's going to make mistakes. Kirk Cousins does not like to get hit. He will make mistakes. This is what happens. They are quarterbacks that need to be untouched. They need that. They need to be untouched. That's why I am not sold on the Minnesota Vikings. The defense is not the same defense that we are accustomed to. They are a good defense, but are they great? No. Are they beatable? Yes. Every team is beatable. Every team is just some less beatable than others, right? Some less beatable than others. Now, that game, that Falcons-Raiders game, I mean, unless you're betting on a game, no need to even watch that. All right, no need to even watch that. You got the Sixers that play again tonight. We'll follow that along like we always do. Who knows what's going to happen there. Again, like I said, we're going to talk to a couple of people about the Sixers and, about what's going on with the NBA as a whole, what's going on with Joel Embiid. A lot of people talking about he's a soft player. Get rid of him. I'd laugh. What's funny? Here's another one for you. I love trumping it back to all the groups out there that, Joel Embiid's soft, man. He's soft. You don't get hurt like that from being soft, by the way, right? The dude got hit in the face by jumping up for a rebound between 2 guys that got hit right in the cheek, right? If you're soft, you're standing on the foul line watching the ball bounce. That's who's soft, right? He's not soft. Unfortunately, he just got hurt again. Like, it's one of those things, man. We've watched players, and unfortunately now we have that player, right? We watch players where we have to hold our breath, whether it be in this town or other cities, whether it be on our favorite teams. We have to hold our breath and say, "Oh no, not again!" Right? "Oh no, not again!" Right? And that's unfortunately that's what Joel Embiid is. Is it his doing? I honestly don't think so. I do not think so. I don't think it has anything to do with his preparation. I don't think it has anything to do with that. You show me, and I'll say as I argued with somebody this morning, Tell me how you prepare for an orbital fracture. Tell me how you for a sinus fracture. What do you do? Is there like a Bowflex machine for your face that helps you out? Like all these people that are doctors and social media doctors. Oh, yeah, whatever. Like again, at the end of the day, this guy is not soft. He's just unfortunate, and we want this team to win. Now, I will flip this for you a little bit because I can't wait to get some opinions on this, but maybe it's me. I've watched the games and I look at the games and Paul George, man, like, are you seeing the same slow Paul George that I'm seeing? Are you seeing the same Paul George that I'm seeing? Because I'm not feeling it, man. I am not feeling it. So I'm going to get into that. I do. I want to get into that because there's so many different things that we want to break down. There's so many different things that we want to break down. And I do. I want people to check in, man, about that. I keep saying it again. I saw it all day today. It was extremely frustrating. It was comical to me because, again, like I said, when you watch the games, you watch people that are breaking down the games that don't actually watch it and don't understand, and they're fans. That's fine, but they go to the extreme, man. Like you can't go to the extreme, and you can't want to portray an argument if you're uneducated in that sport. Right? Like you could be have a reaction. That's great. But when you want to start breaking down X's and O's, like you better be ready, man, because there's some people out there that are going to break them down too. And you're probably not going to be ready for what they have as well. But listen, man, we're going to take a 5-minute break. We're going to bring a special guest on who just came in again. Like I said, we're going to get into this little Sixers talk tonight. We're getting a little Philly sports talk like we always do. And again, live right here from Pike Spot, 455 2nd Street Pike, right here in Southampton, PA. For everybody checking in online, just stay right there. We'll be back in 5 minutes. And again, if you are on Facebook, make sure that you get over to YouTube because I'm not getting the Facebook comments. I'm already getting text messages. I'm very sorry. You got to go over to YouTube and throw them out there because third-party software sometimes it just does not work. Again, we'll be back in 5 right here on the Tony Cutillo Show where we talk live right here about the NBA and your Philadelphia 76ers. And we are back live right here from Pike's Pub, like we do every single Monday night, man. And we got a special guest, man. Like not only I thought he was going to join me remotely, man, but he made the trip, man. Like he made the trip. Listen, I'm gonna embarrass him a little bit. Usually you won't see him behind the camera, during the week. Okay, for our favorite Alex Holly and Mike Jarrett down there at Fox 29. But right now, what you will see him is you see him at bestintheworldsports.com with my man Jonesy, right? Doing and PhillyFlowGo.com, right?
Philly Go Flow.
Philly Go Flow.
PhillyGoFlow.com.
Yes, where you do all your own music, man.
The truth of the matter is, I'm trying to be like you. I'm trying. I went to the Tony Cutillo school of how many jobs can one person have at the same time. I'm trying to be on I went to the school of how many different shows can one person host at the same time. That's what it is. Like if you host a bunch of different shows, at least one of them is going to be a hit. And that's what.
Listen, man, you gotta try, right? You gotta try.
Exactly.
You gotta try. You make sure you give him a follow right here at JLB from DVM, bestintheworldsports.com. As always, brother, man, it's been real for coming out, man. But man, listen, we got to get right into this because you know why I brought you on here.
We can't have nice things.
No, we cannot have nice things.
We can't have nice things.
Oh man, I'm getting tongue tied already. I was getting so frustrated this morning of hearing people. And again, we've both been critical of the big guy.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But to call him soft over that injury.
Well, here's the thing. And sometimes you just can't win for losing. How many times do you hear people say, why doesn't Joel Embiid go down in the paint? Why doesn't he battle in the paint? Why doesn't he go down there and bang with people in the paint? He's such a big guy. When the answer is every time he goes down there, somebody breaks his face.
Yes.
He gets his face broken.
Yep.
That's what happens. You have to admit it was a different time at the beginning of the season.
Yes.
The beginning of the season, I said to myself, because we just got finished watching that debacle of an end to the Phillies season. You saw how the Eagles started their season.
Oh,
I said
it was bad time.
It was bad times. I said I did not have it in me to be angry with the Sixers for 82 straight games.
I agree with you there.
I just don't have it in me. I just don't have that type of anger, the anger that was carrying on. Because right now, at the end of the Philly season, I wanted everyone not named Bryce Harper to go.
Yeah.
Bryce Harper can stay. If your name is not Bryce Harper,
yes,
you can go.
I completely agree.
And at the beginning of the Eagles season, I was like, look, for all those Phillies that are out the door, you can take Nick Sirianni with you. And you might have had to take Jalen Hurts too.
I know.
However, with the Sixers, because of the way the last season ended and the way it looked, you put that type of money into Paul George.
Yes.
Who then immediately gets hurt.
Yep.
You look at Joel Embiid, who has an injury history, who you know that Joel Embiid goes into the offseason and needs to get healthy. But what does he decide to do? He plays in the Olympics.
I got a different opinion on that, though. I'm okay with that.
You're okay with that?
Yes.
No, I understand. But nonetheless, it feeds into the criticism.
Yeah, you're right.
It feeds into the criticism.
Yes.
And what happens? He's not ready to play. So somebody had to catch this angst because pretty much Flyers had no expectations. No one.
That's true.
No one's ready to care about the Flyers yet.
No. Until the boys start really.
It's coming.
Yeah,
that day will come.
Exactly.
But as of right now, we're not ready to care about the Flyers as a whole.
That's true.
So you come in, you have your Sixers.
I'm telling you, man.
It's looking bad, but to me, where I am with the Sixers is, I feel like this has to work, because if it doesn't, then yes, then you got to blow it up.
Yeah.
And I'm under the belief that if you blow it up, you got to blow it up.
But how can you see that? See, that's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people are like, yeah, and I was one of those guys, and I have to watch what I say. I will say this: I gotta watch what I say.
Why do you gotta watch what you say?
I gotta watch what I say, man. I gotta watch what I say.
I just saw the graphic. Your name was on fire.
No,
you have to watch what you say.
No, like because what I mean
name was on fire.
You're right, but it can always it's always taken it the wrong way, right? So I got to really, and
understood.
I love Joel Embiid.
Yes.
But I also was to say, I don't think we'll ever win a championship with him. Oh. And I said that 2 years ago.
Okay.
And unfortunately, it's playing out. And I hate to say it, but only because of everything he's been through. I still think that, the Jimmy Butler year, that was the year. That was our best opportunity. Yes. I still have those nightmares that he's gone, man. Like, I'm watching that Charlotte game where he knocks that three, and we're like, yes, we got a closer.
Yes.
We got somebody. Gone. Right? So, man, I look at this team. As soon as they signed him to the extension, you can't blow this thing up. It's unblow. It's how do I say it? I'm going to do a tongue twister. Like, I don't even know. I was going to say unblowable, but it doesn't even make sense, right? Yeah. But you can't blow it up.
No.
So all these people are like, trade them, get rid of them. Bro, like, it doesn't happen.
For everything that you just said, and I understand it, and it makes perfect sense. I still believe that as long as Joel Embiid is on this team, the best chance to win a championship is with Joel Embiid. Because
yes, I'll give you that.
In the history of Philly sports, you don't see trades of superstars that make the team better. You're not going to trade a Joel Embiid and get better. You're not going to trade a Joel Embiid and move on from where you are. You're not going to pick up from where we are. If you're trading Joel Embiid, you're throwing in the towel.
Yes.
And to me, it's like if you're going to throw in the towel, you have to throw in the towel. There is no, hey, let's trade Embiid and build around Maxey and McCain. Even with McCain being hurt. Because quite frankly, if Maxey and McCain were players you could build around, this team wouldn't be 6-16.
That's true. That's a good point. Mm-hmm. You do make a good point. Like again, and that's why I say you're helping me watch when I say yes, their best opportunity to win is with Joel. But if they decide to blow it, like you said, they're not going to get better.
Yeah, no.
Right? I mean, we're going. I don't want to say process, but I hate that word. But we're starting to rebuild again.
Well, here's the thing. Now you hate the word process.
Yes,
I love the word.
Oh, you love process?
I loved it.
Oh man!
Because once again, this is Philly, and the mentality of the Philly fan is when a team does not win, you blow it up and start all over again.
That's
true. You say it with the Eagles. You say it with the Phillies. You said it with the Flyers. We've said it with every team. When they don't win, it's time to blow it up and start all over again. The Sixers were the only team in our history that actually did it, that actually said, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to blow it up and rebuild from the ground up. And what happened with that process? We got Joel Embiid, a cornerstone player, a franchise player. The problem is in the opportunities that they had to build around him, pretty much all of them failed.
Yeah, they did. They really did. And we got my man Japan saying, I will never trust the process ever again.
No.
The Sixers are toast.
Here's the problem. The process did not fail the Sixers. The Sixers failed the process.
Yes, I will get yes.
Because it got you what you needed to get. A franchise player.
Yes.
You got a franchise player, an MVP player, a scoring champion. That's what you got.
That's true.
And then when it also gave you opportunities, 2 straight number 1 picks to put around that franchise player. And you draft a guy who quits basketball in the middle.
Martin
Fultz. Yes.
He ruined the process.
Right there.
Markelle Fultz ruined the process.
Fultz. But here's the problem. Every misstep of the Sixers led to success for a team that competes with the Sixers. We get Markelle Fultz. Celtics get Jason Tatum.
Yeah, but hold on. We were never going to get Tatum.
No, we were never going to get Jason Tatum.
So I just want to let everybody know that, right? You know that. I know that.
But that bad pick instantly led to the Celtics being able to get their franchise player and a guy to give the Celtics a championship. So not only did our process help the Celtics win a championship.
God. Oh,
yeah, I'm pissing myself off.
I'm right. It's like a nightmare, man. It's a nightmare that we're living.
You get free drinks up in there?
I got one on you, bro. One on me. I can tell you that.
That's why I came down.
Yeah, absolutely. You know that. I got to take care of my peeps.
Yeah, you talked about zooming in. No, like you at the spot. I'm gonna come down here, get something to drink with you.
Listen, you got to have the food here.
No, I appreciate
you got to have the food here.
Yes, sir.
It is fantastic.
Yes,
Japan says Kobe told the Lakers to get Tatum sick to my stomach. He says, man,
exactly.
Listen.
Exactly.
Again, we're live right here on the Tony Cutillo Show, right here at Pike's Pub with my man JB at JLB from DVM from bestintheworldsports.com.
Hit me up on Twitter, X, whatever.
I don't even know what's called anymore.
I'm there.
Man. You know what I mean?
Whatever you call it.
Yeah,
I'm there.
Instagram, Facebook, whatever.
Yes.
What did Belichick say? Instaface. We gotta talk about that later too, by the way. But all right, because I'm done. I don't want to relive anymore because I'm sick, right? Yeah. So just moving ahead. I mentioned this. I know you heard me when you walked in. I wanted to talk a little bit about Paul George because this is not the Paul George I thought we were going to get. And I minus the in all that, like he's a couple steps slow. And I ask you, because I know you watch ball.
Yes.
And I know you watch it more than I do. I do love the West Coast game.
Yes.
But that's not what I saw last year. So I'm afraid, I know listen, if you think we're getting the version of Paul George for you're sadly mistaken.
We're not getting Pacers Paul George. We might not even be getting Thunder Paul George.
And that exactly. I thought we'd be getting better than we got. Is it too early to say I think he lost a step already?
Well, whether he's lost a step or not, I feel like we haven't gotten a fair look at who Paul George is because we keep getting injured Paul George. And that might just be who Paul George is now anyway.
Yeah.
That might just be it. He might have lost a step because he's knocking on 40.
Oh, he's what, 35? I think he's 30. 35. He's 35.
In basketball years, he's knocking on,
That's true.
His knees are 40.
That's true.
And I feel like the one thing that we have not done, and this is probably the same issue that the Clippers had, whereas they have a nucleus where you believe that if that nucleus is together, you can do some things, but you never see that nucleus together. I think we saw with Maxey and George, this team is slightly better than when it was just Maxey. When it was just Maxey and even McCain, it's over. This team played like a lottery team. You insert Paul George, and they played slightly better. You insert Paul George and Joel Embiid, and then once again, they're looking, okay, maybe this could be a playoff team. Maybe we can talk. But now, once again, Embiid's hurt.
Yep.
McCain's now hurt. We're just waiting on Paul George to get hurt again. And like you said, we haven't seen it. We haven't seen Paul George yet. And for me, like I don't necessarily need Paul George to be superstar first option Paul George just yet. I don't mind the version of Paul George we are getting now, as long as you still have a Tyrese Maxey, and up until recently you had McCain.
Yep. But that sucks, by the way.
That absolutely sucks.
Like that came out of nowhere too, man. Like,
again, can't have nice things.
No, like that was going to be our one thing this year. Exactly. Look, we've rookie of the year.
But that was also it. In the post failure of the process, you were able to find a diamond in the rough like Tyrese Maxey later in the first round, a guy who ends up being a piece that you can build with. And then lightning strikes twice when you bring in a McCain who can give you points, can serviceably run the point in the fact that he won't turn the ball over. Not necessarily a guy you want to run your offense through, but he is somebody you can trust to bring the ball down and find an open guy. So you had those pieces. So to me, if you have those as your 3 and 3A pieces who can move up and be 2 and 2A, I don't need, as long as Paul, I just need Paul George to be better than Tobias Harris at this point.
Oh, well, listen, if he's better than Tobias Harris, if we got some problems, man.
As long as Paul, as long as I'm not missing Tobias Harris, I'm cool with who Paul George is right now.
That's a big $200 miss, $200 million miss. Yeah. I should say, man, exactly. My God. Japan says it's the East. They definitely should make the playoffs with just Maxey. I don't agree with that.
No.
It's just the East. I don't know, man. Like, I think, see, this is where at Japan, listen, I'm not, no disrespect. I've I've watched basketball, and even coming into this year, like, I hate that Banchero got hurt. I hate that Franz got hurt again. Like, I was looking forward to watching that Orlando team because they are young and hungry. Right, so to say the East is deep, man, it's deeper than people think, man.
I think so too. I think so too. And you're seeing like a lot of the younger teams are younger in this that aren't performing. They're not performing for the same reasons. They got injuries.
Yes.
You look at Charlotte. You look at Ball. How many times he's been out? You look at Orlando and their injuries.
Yep.
That's the problem.
That's true.
And all of those teams are in the same position as the Sixers, as when they get healthy, they should be better.
The problem is we're digging the hole that they're not digging.
Yeah.
And that's what's crazy. Right. And that brings me to, another thing I wanted to ask you is when I looked at this team constructed by Daryl Morey, and I said to myself, this is the deepest team I've ever seen the Sixers have since the Joel Embiid era, right? But these guys, man, like all of a sudden, I feel like we get guys that all of a sudden forget how to play basketball. Like all of a sudden, Caleb Martin can't play. All of a sudden, Eric Gordon, who I get it, looks like he's 90 years old. Like these guys, like all of a sudden, like Drummond doesn't even look great. Like we got all these guys around, like what's going on? And why the hell isn't Ricky playing more? That's what bothers me.
I feel like there needs to take something from the Eagles. In the sense that how did things turn around for that Eagles defense? Start playing the young guys.
Yes.
Why are the young guys not playing?
Yep.
I got a buddy who always hits me up on my show.
Okay.
And always talks about why isn't he playing the young guys? Why wasn't McCain getting more minutes?
Yep.
Why isn't Council getting more minutes?
Yep.
You're sitting there and they're young guards out of a job right now.
Yep.
Who could probably give you more than some of these older players on the Sixers right now.
I agree.
And that's part of the problem. And I think the Sixers still believe that they are a team that will be better once their veteran stars get healthy. And when you get your veteran stars healthy, you want veterans in there with them who know how to play with them, who will know how to adjust, where they believe the young guys might not be there. But sometimes you just got to let the young guys eat.
Yes.
That's where they are. I think the Sixers kind of believe that playing the young guys might be more of a throwing in the towel type moment when it could be like the Eagles.
Yeah.
Where you could have said, hey, the Eagles are throwing in the towel by playing all the young guys. But no, what happened? They responded with the playing time.
Exactly.
So,
and they do it all. And that's the thing. Like when you see Ricky come in,
and
you see the insertion of energy that he brings. KJ Martin.
Yes.
I mean, these are energy guys. I don't, and Nick Nurse made a weird comment about it the other night when he in the presser post game. He was like, well, Ricky, and he talked about his size and like, bro, like I get it, I understand, but he can play.
Yes.
Like, why is he not playing more?
His size. Like, do you see the front court of your future?
Exactly.
And Ricky Council can't get by.
That's what I don't get it, man. I don't understand it. And I will say this too. Again, this is Tony Cutillo show right here live from Pike's Public. We are every Monday night right here at 455 2nd Street Pike, the home of the fantastic $3 lunch special menu every day from 4 to 6. 4 to 6, $3, bro.
What do you get?
Yeah, yo, every day something different. Make sure you go follow that Pike Ball Facebook page to see that menu, man. See, I'll tell you, man. Exactly. Can't beat it, man. Can't beat it, man. So come on down. As always, check us out. You get what is before the show, get that special, then you're good for the entire show for the 3 hours right here. Talk about man JB at JLB from DVM on X, on Instagram, on Facebook, BITWsports.com. Has his own podcast.
I do.
With Jonesy.
Yes, the Jonesy and Brown Show.
Jonesy and Brown Show.
The world famous Jonesy and Brown Show.
The world famous
Jonesy and Brown Show. Known all over Lansdale, Pennsylvania.
Oh, hell yeah, baby. Hell yeah. Mark that. You Lansdale. This is where Lansdale and Southampton collide. It's like North Penn and Centennial, whatever the hell you want to call it, where we're at, right? We're going to collide right here, man. We're going to collide. How's that?
Okay.
Let me ask you about Nurse, man.
Yes.
So I'm a Nick Nurse guy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm afraid I'm seeing a burnout. I'm afraid I'm seeing the frustration.
That could be it.
And I said this, and I want to get your opinion on this. I said this a couple weeks ago. I said this is one of the most undisciplined teams I've ever seen Nick Nurse ever coach. And I don't blame Nick Nurse. I look at it as I think he might be spent. I think he's he's missing things that he doesn't normally miss because he's so over, like his mental capacity, man. He's on E, man. I'm afraid that we kind of could be pushing him out.
Oh boy, well, I certainly hope not, but that certainly makes sense. Especially when you have, this is a guy who won a ring, took a team to a title, basically built a franchise, took Toronto to heights that it had never been before. You get shown the door there, you get picked up by a team that's supposed to be on the cusp of making that move.
Yep.
So you go from a situation where you are shown the door from one team, a team you brought a championship, to a team that told you that they had championship aspirations. You got scoring champ on your team, MVP on your team. You got a budding rookie on the team. When you walk in the door, you have a former scoring champion and an MVP on the team, who then immediately calls the GM a liar, says he wants to leave, but still, nonetheless, when you walked in the door, you believed that James Harden was a happy guy, wanted to be
there. He was. He's happy now again.
Yeah. You thought you were walking into a team with James Harden and Tyrese Maxey, a budding guard, who was on the cusp of being a superstar. And what happens? First things first, James Harden wants out.
You're right.
He wants out.
I'll give that to you.
Then you have your superstar who has injury histories. Now just see like it's one thing after another.
One thing after another.
There's
nothing you can really do.
There's nothing you can really do. Who might have a few, if you want, for the lack of a better term, some character flaws. How important they are, how pivotal they are, how crucial they are. That's up for debate. But nonetheless, there are some red flags to the way your star player has carried himself along the lines. Maybe some deep-seated maturity issues,
which I thought we were past.
Yeah, which I thought we were either past or they had found a common ground to build toward, to move forward. Because some of the things that you have heard, the criticisms that you've heard about Joel Embiid are things that you've heard his whole career. The lateness to meetings. Not necessarily taking everything seriously. But when you see a player say, okay, I understand that. However, now he's winning scoring championships. Now he's winning MVPs. So apparently something is going right. Something got fixed. But then they come out slow. And next thing you know, team meeting.
The infamous team meetings.
Yeah.
Listen, I want fun basketball back again. Very simple, man. That's all I want.
I do too.
I want fun basketball back.
Basketball is down bad in the city, man.
It's down bad everywhere.
It is,
and I don't know why. I mean, I maybe I do, but I don't. Like I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, but I feel like the people that are down on the sport, and I don't want to say this disrespectfully, aren't educated on sport enough. Meaning, not understanding not the actual X's and O's, but understanding how this global product is trying to be, perceived, and understand that. Listen, I'll be honest with you. I don't think the NBA cares because they're making so much money. Honestly, I mean, they're a global enterprise, and people think that they care, and they don't. Like, they're still making money whether you watch it or not, which is crazy for me to say. But I'll tell you what, man, I think the only way that this turns around is they got to cut the 82 games.
You think so?
Yes.
Well, I think you got to
make it a 50-game season.
50.
Yeah, make it a 50. If you're going to have 8 teams make the play, like make it a 50-game season. You're going to have guys sitting 30 games anyway.
Well, that might be true,
right? I mean,
that might be true too. But I also, I think part of the problem in sports, believe it or not, I think part of it is the athlete has gotten smarter, and athletes are starting to take care of themselves, not necessarily physically, but mentally, spiritually, financially.
Yep, that's right.
Like back in the day, you hear people talk about complaining about load management and players taking off and whatever. And I feel like probably the poster child now is probably like Kawhi, and Embiid, Paul George, and for a while it was LeBron. And you would always hear about players in the past, they didn't do that. Guys didn't do that. Mind you, Jordan retired. He quit the whole sport twice.
Exactly.
He took 2 years. He took a whole series off for load management.
Well, if we want to call it load management, we can get some conspiracy theories about that. Right? Well, I'll keep that quiet, though.
But nonetheless, but still, you look at that Jordan era, and you look at the mentality that came out of it, that Jordan was A1, the top, the upper echelon. He was the peak, and rightfully so. I'm not going to argue that. You can't.
Nope.
Jordan, greatest of all time.
Go.
But then you look at that tier underneath him, the Barkleys, the Malones, the Stocktons, Sean Kemp, Gary Payton, Patrick Ewing, Reggie Miller. Those guys could never be on the level of Jordan because Jordan won and they didn't. So we have now put that type of value on winning. Winning defines your legacy. But also what you saw was a popularity in the league where it was reaching heights of, they're selling jerseys, they're selling sneakers, selling out arenas, making money. Owners want to make money. There's no extra money in championships, dude.
Yeah. No, you're right.
There's no extra money in championships. So these owners don't care about winning championships. They'll care about selling out their arenas, selling a whole bunch of jerseys and making a whole bunch of money. LeBron sees that. His owners in Cleveland don't care about them winning a championship. They care about selling out the arena, selling a whole bunch of jerseys and merch. But what are we saying about LeBron? He'll never be Jordan because he don't win like Jordan. He's not gonna have his legacy defined by not winning. So what does he do? Y'all not gonna build me a winner here? I'm gonna go out and put my own winner together in Miami. And that's what these players are doing. Okay, you're not going to make me a winner here. I'll go make myself a winner.
It's a good point, man. It's valid. Because I don't disagree. Yeah, these owners don't care about championships.
But we want to lament super teams. The problem with super teams isn't players going out there building their own championships or whatever. The problem was owners not wanting to build around the superstars they build.
True.
Owners collecting their money while their superstars' legacy is getting tarnished by the fact that they're not winning.
That's a good point. That's a really good point.
So therefore, but also you want your players to last longer. LeBron James is playing at the highest level And he's now played long enough so his son can be in the league. LeBron James should probably play till his grandkids are in the league.
I'll tell you what. That dude is a physical specimen. Like, nonetheless, my man JD checking in says that was great competition in 80s and 90s. Mm-hmm. Don't see the fire in competition in today's game. I don't disagree with that statement. It's not like when you just mentioned a ton of players, man, and we are in the same era. And I will say this. Yes, Jordan to me is the GOAT. But when anybody ever says, is it Jordan or LeBron? I'll tell you exactly what I say. I don't care. Mm-hmm. And they said, what do you mean? I don't care. You know what I care about? I care that I was blessed, in my opinion,
you saw them both.
To not just see those two, but to see some of the best ever in their prime. Right? I saw Kobe in his prime, LeBron in his prime, Michael in his prime. Right? You know, you go back. I saw Shaq in his prime. All right, Stockton in his prime. Right, Steve Nash in his prime, Dirk in his prime, like T-Mac in his prime. Like this is like I don't care. I just saw great basketball, right? So when I look at today's game, I agree with JD. I don't see that fire. I see the competition, but it's more of a friendly like me and you could probably go out on a blacktop and have the same competition. It's not what we used to like he said, Jordan and Kobe, LeBron, not top 15. Now that's going to be an interesting discussion for another day because that could spiral right here.
Are easy there, buddy.
Yeah, this could spiral.
Calm down there, buddy. All right, look.
But Kobe was a sniper, man. Like Kobe, you'll never see that kind of fire ever, right? Jordan, who again, because he was a gambler, right? I mean, you're never going to see that kind of fire. But you'll see competition, but I don't think you're going to see that fire anymore.
Well, I think. It's like what you call fire. You know, what do you consider fire? Where it was like, I think there was more. It was easier to hide that fourth wall during the 80s and 90s. Whereas players might have been cool, players might have been friends or whatever in the 80s and 90s, but you would never know that.
No.
Because you didn't see them. Problem is during the LeBron era, you could see LeBron doing whatever. LeBron's on vacation with a bunch of players he plays against. You would never know that.
No.
Like I remember when The Last Dance came out.
Oh yeah, I
can't remember.
Yeah, I loved it.
I think it was the first
every Sunday night, man. I couldn't wait. Couldn't wait.
I think it was one of the first episodes, and they showed the night of a playoff game, the day of a playoff game. Michael Jordan out playing golf with Danny Ainge, and I'm sitting there thinking, well, I didn't think that happened.
Yeah, right.
You know, you told me that back in the day, you know, in the 80s and 90s, players hated each other.
They hated each other.
You know, if I saw Danny Ainge and Michael Jordan on a golf course together, I think they were trying to fight each other with clubs.
Yeah.
They ain't out there playing together, hanging out the day. And you think about that now.
Yep.
Playoff game. A game 7. Joel Embiid goes out to play golf with Jason Tatum.
Oh, we would bury it. We would be burying them.
And mind you, you think about that. The Bulls lost that game.
That's right. They did.
What was that? Not last year, but the year before, where they lost in the to the Celtics in 7.
Who?
The Sixers lost to the Celtics
that
in 7.
Game was
what if you found out? What if there somewhere on Twitter there was pictures of Joel Embiid and Jason Tatum going out to brunch? Maybe hanging out at Dave and Buster's,
man,
just hanging out, having a good time, and then Joel Embiid and the Sixers lose Game 7 later on that day.
Yeah, that can't happen. That would be the end of Joel Embiid.
Pitchforks.
Yes, that would be the end of Joel Embiid, man.
The absolute end. There'd be radio. Yeah, there'd be radio stations.
There would definitely be
radio station program managers would be feeding their children off the vitriol that would be coming down.
Oh my God, that would not be good.
Exactly, man. But I think the competitive, because players still want to win, because in the end, because it has only gotten worse in the sense that winning defines your legacy. Yes. If you do not win, It's like, yes, Joel Embiid has scoring championships. Yes, Joel Embiid has an MVP. Joel Embiid ain't up there with Steph Curry because Joel Embiid has no ring. Steph Curry has rings.
Yep.
Jason Tatum has rings.
Yes.
Giannis has a ring. You know?
Ring, yeah. I mean, that was the Dan Marino argument for years.
Yes. Yeah. You have to win.
He has no rings.
He has no rings. So therefore, I still believe, like, I don't believe Joel Embiid goes out and does not win and is just cool with it. Like, all right, let me just go hang out.
Yeah.
Didn't win a championship again.
Yeah,
let me just go hang out. Let me just go be with my people.
I thought that once he settled down and had kids and what is that? See a second, I'll say PA shot out idol. Are you saying idol is who's your idol? Let us know. I'm curious. My man David checking in says Michael Jordan would have come back in 99 instead of 2001. The Bulls would have made their third round three-peat.
Yes.
Wow. Oh, I'll tell you what. I always say this: the luckiest guy that lucked out with the Jordan saga was Rudy Tomjanovich because there's no way Houston wins those 2 years.
Yeah, you got two. You got two rings in the Jordan era. They can't take that away from you.
Nope.
Things they can't take away from you. Shaq beat Jordan in the playoffs, and the Rockets got two rings. And there's no telling. You bring that team back, that second three-peat, you could be talking a four-peat.
Yeah, you would definitely be talking a four-peat.
We could be talking a five-peat.
Yeah,
we could be talking about Michael Jordan and the Bulls winning not three, not four, not five, not six.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right, man. We could be talking about. I want to ask you a question because again, this is live right here, Tony Cutillo Show live from Pike's Pub. Yes. Got my man JB checking in.
That's me.
Right here live. Lucilia, let me know if that
real quick. Follow me on Twix.
Twix.
On Twix at JLB from DVM at BITW Sports and at Jonesy and Brown. We're there. I got one phone and a bunch of different accounts.
I love it, man. I love it.
If you follow me, I will talk to you on one of them.
Yes, he will. Yes. Again, because I can tell you that because that's how this started, right? Yes. That's how this started. But I gotta ask you this clip. It's not a clip. It's a vote that I put out there. I think it's very, very interesting. And again, we're gonna keep this segment going. We're gonna cut it a little short, but we're gonna keep it going because we're having a good conversation. Japan, you will be on 7:45, and then we're gonna go a full hour with man Jimmy Mack. We're talking about the Philadelphia Phillies, man. At 8 o'clock, we're going a full hour, 45 minutes to an hour. All Phillies, man, 100%. Because the comments are coming in about the talking. When you're running the show, you got to kind of go, with what goes. You know what I mean, JB? You got to go with it hits, man. Yes. So here's a question for you.
People want me around.
Yeah, it sounds like that, man.
People are enjoying me.
Yeah, they're going to enjoy you. So we're going to have to take you to 7:45 here, man. Till a Japan segment. Now we're going to do Japan segment, and then we're going to go Jimmy Mack Phillies for a whole hour, man. Because there's a lot. Because we need time for the Phillies side now.
You told me it was going to be a half hour. Look, I'm gonna take advantage of my time.
I said 15-20. Look at where we're at, man. It's good. Oh man, you never know where it's gonna go. Man, never know it's gonna go.
I'm not going anywhere.
Look at this poll right here.
Okay.
No injuries. Okay, I saw this. I love these polls.
Yes.
Who has the best NBA career out of these 5 players? T-Mac, Derrick Rose, Brandon Roy, Yao Ming, Grant Hill.
Ooh.
I mean, you think about 5 legitimate players. Now, I will say, I'll just tell you what I shot out today was, to me, it will and always be T-Mac.
Yeah.
If T-Mac does not have microfracture surgery on his knee, T-Mac, if everybody witnessed how electric he was in Toronto and then right in the beginning out there in Houston before he got in, I mean, he was
even before Houston.
Yeah.
Even before
Orlando.
Houston, when he was in Orlando, and this is why I would say it was Grant Hill.
Ooh.
That Grant Hill, my man. That Grant Hill McGrady backcourt would have fed children.
I forgot about that. I didn't think of that.
That backcourt right there, when you thought, and to think they were going to build a big three with Grant Hill, Tracy McGrady, and Tim Duncan. And the only thing that kept Tim Duncan from going to Orlando was the fact that Doc Rivers wouldn't let Tim Duncan's woman on the plane.
What?
You didn't hear that story?
No.
Tim Duncan was a free agent.
Okay.
He's meeting with Orlando, and he's like, does family get to ride the team plane with players? And Doc was like, nah, no.
Doc. Come on, Doc.
And Tim was like, you know what? Okay, I hear you. Your team. I'm gonna go back here to say that.
I didn't know that. I did not hear that at all.
A couple more rings.
Oh my God!
You think about that big three.
Wow.
You think about that's a what if.
That would have been fire.
That would have been fire.
Jesus.
So that Derrick Rose, that hurt my soul, even though he got hurt against the Sixers, and that put the Sixers in history of being an 8 seed that beats a 1 seed. But you hate to see it. You hate to see it that way.
That was bad.
Yeah.
And that's another guy. You talk about moves, handles, mobility, sweet shot, man. Like, and that's what I always say. Like, you look at guys that are on that superstar elevated level for so long.
Yes.
Nobody really understands the guys that maybe just below or should be there, but aren't elevated because they don't get the notoriety based on the markets they play in.
D Rose was on that cusp.
100%.
D Rose was definitely on that cusp.
100%.
He was there, and I think I think he just came to NBA too late.
Yeah, I think he was, I agree.
He was in that same. If you remember Arvydas Sabonis,
yes,
big man that had skill. But he started his career overseas.
Yep.
And then by the time he got to the league, he was still dominant, but he was old dominant.
Yes.
And that's probably what made he had a veterans game.
Yep.
And you think about Yao Ming, and then he's playing with young guys. He's got he had that young backcourt with Mobley and Stevie Franchise.
Stevie Franchise.
Stevie Franchise.
See, people forget about Stevie Franchise.
Stevie Franchise, man.
Oh man,
that was my man from Maryland. I like him when he was in Maryland.
Yes, he was with the. Was he on that Walt Williams squad with Maryland?
No, I think he's after that.
He's after that. Who was on that Walt Williams squad? Oh man, I'm making you think now, man. The wizard, Walt Williams out there.
Walt single-handedly brought the high socks back.
Yes, he did.
He was from PG County, Maryland.
Oh,
he was from that DMV. Came in with brought socks back up to your knees.
Oh man, that was my guy, man.
Wizard, yeah. First of all, ACC Maryland was special. People just don't understand. Back ACC Maryland, especially ACC Maryland basketball, because nobody cared about Maryland football. But
right.
Back when they were working to be that number 3, they were like the Penn State football of ACC basketball. Whereas when you think of Big Ten, you think of Michigan, you think of Ohio State. But Penn State was right there, and they try to be that team that we might be number 3, but we'll beat number 1 or number 2 on any given Saturday.
Yep.
And that's what Maryland was back in the 90s, early 2000s, where you think of ACC basketball, you might think of North Carolina, you think of Duke. But Maryland jump in there, and they'll beat either one of them on any given night. And that was
old school ACC basketball, man. That was when you're going back to the Georgia Tech Bobby Cremins days, man. Like you're going hardcore ACC, man.
Back in the day when they used to have that ACC
tournament,
the tournament, and then they would have Sunday night ACC basketball on Raycon Sports.
Wow, see, we showing age, man.
Back when you could watch,
we showing age.
You could watch a great college basketball game on Philly 57.
Oh man, we are showing age. I was back then, man. I was a big college fan. Yeah. I mean, still am, but I was more back then, more invested. And I think because in the Philly area, I always bring it up, man. Shout out to my man, my first basketball coach ever, my man, Mr. Clyver, Bill Clyver. Check it out. Temple's own, alumni. And he gave me the Temple experience.
Yes.
He brought me to the Palestra for the A10 tournaments where I sat on the benches and all day watched St. Bonnie's, watched LaSalle. I had Eddie Jones dunking right in front of me. Aaron, I didn't know how to act, man. But that was when you had those wars, man. You had the UMass wars with with Lou Rowe, right, and Marcus Camby. Then you had the Razorbacks in Arkansas with Todd Day and Lee Mayberry and Corliss Williamson.
John Chaney tried to shoot the fade with Calipari right after the game.
Yeah, that was
great.
My
senior year of high school, and I thought it was one of the greatest things in sports.
That was great. That was great. Oh, my God.
John Chaney tried to shoot the fade with the coach after the game. Those, like, to me, and I always loved Philly Big Five basketball. Big Five, City Six, whatever you want to call it.
Yep.
And because I didn't pay any tuition to any of those schools, I felt like I could like them all. I didn't have to pick one.
Yeah. If
I went to one of those schools, I would have picked one.
You would have picked exactly. But you didn't have no allegiance.
Yeah, I had no allegiance. They got no money from me. So yes, I can like Temple and Villanova. But you know, like those Mark Macon.
Oh my God.
Goodness.
Those Temple teams, man.
Mayor Vic Karstafen now.
God, and let's not leave out, you know,
St. Joe's. Dad, St. Joe's,
you know,
back in the day.
Oh my God.
Delonte West and Jameer.
I
go with LaSalle, I'll go all the way back to the L train.
To the Lionel Simmons, baby.
The L train.
The L train. Yeah. See, that's when everybody watched the game.
Yes.
Man.
See, we talk about Philly basketball being down bad, but you know, back in those days, when you could watch college basketball like that, and then you still had the bump and thump Sixers, with Mahorn and
oh
Barkley.
My God! And then we went through that litany of terrible teams, man. When like the best thing we looked forward to was Ron Anderson. Like, I mean, like, no disrespect to Ron, but it was like,
Ron Anderson catches straight,
right? Just say, like, I couldn't wait to hear Matty Court say, and the hammer, Armin Gilliam. Like, you know, I mean, that's what we were. That's what we were. You know, that's what we had, man.
Well, I say that because I feel like when I host my show, when I'm talking to fans,
what we got?
Armin Gilliam was the black. I think he had 12 career assists.
Yo, he can shoot with both hands.
Could he shoot with both hands?
Yeah. He had the Gumby haircut, man. He had the wait, I got the bar. The bar captain. I sit there. I saw the bar captain's here.
I try to tell people I represent old Philly sports. You know, I was blessed to see. I was blessed to watch a lot of good and a lot of bad in Philly sports.
Yes.
So when people complain about the current state of the Sixers, I try to tell them, like, you do not realize how hopeless Philly sports was in the post-Barkley, pre-Iverson era.
Oof. You ain't lying there, buddy.
That first, you remember that process team that won 10 games? I promise you, I had more enjoyment watching that team than the post-Barkley, pre-Iverson Sixers. Back when they were marching out Sean Bradley and Sharon Wright, B.J. Tyler, Derek Alston. You know where that drink at? You know, that's what that was hopeless basketball. That was Sixers basketball being down bad.
Yep.
Before we got Iverson, you know.
Pat Croce saved the Sixers, JD said.
Trying to convince people that we were going to build around Clarence Weatherspoon. Spoon-fed.
Barkley Jr. Remember?
Right, yeah. That was, man,
everybody trying to sell you on Barkley Jr.
I liked Clarence Weatherspoon, but that was like Timu Barkley.
Yeah,
that's what that was.
They're bad. I hate those comparisons sometimes because it buries the player indirectly. It's like, come on, don't put a mark on him like that already.
But in the end, you know, even to tie it into what we have been talking about with the Sixers, Clarence Weatherspoon was not a guy you build around. That was a guy you build with.
Okay.
And that's the same as Maxey and McCain. Those are not guys you build around. Those are guys you build with. Those are guys you have a superstar. You put guys like McCain and Maxey around your superstar, and you will win.
That's true.
You see what happens when you try to make Maxey and McCain the superstar. You get 6 and 16.
Yeah, listen, you're right. You're right. This is no longer, where it's a one superstar driven league. I think we all know that. You have that. I mean, look, and you look at what OKC's doing right now with that young nucleus of talent out there. And again, they are that again benefit the Paul George trade. And it'll go down in history as one of the worst trades ever. But beneficial for OKC, obviously, right? Now JD checking in. We'll get back to this one. We got a couple minutes left. He's talking about who he's putting above over LeBron. He says Kareem, Wilt, Elgin.
I don't know.
Shaq.
Yes.
Dr. J.
I don't know.
Magic. Bird. Moses. George Gervin. Reggie.
Hell no.
Jordan.
Yes.
Kobe.
Yes.
Walton.
Hell no.
Barkley. All would take over LeBron.
No.
Now, see, I only have. I'm going to be honest. I only have 3 people over LeBron,
and that is not a slight at anyone on that list. But Kareem, Wilt.
Yes.
If you ask me, I will always say Wilt is the GOAT.
My whole thing is I never saw Wilt. It's so hard for me. I mean, you can look at the dominance. That's why it's almost you got to go through errors, right? But no, I get it. The numbers speak for themselves.
Yeah, I with Wilt, I will always say, because I never saw him play either. But my father was always a Wilt guy.
Okay,
and I grew up with him telling me about Wilt.
Okay,
and how Wilt changed the game. And if you do some research, yes, you can look at the numbers, but you look at the numbers versus people. Look at Wilt's numbers versus Bill Russell's. Look at Russell and Wilt's numbers head to head against him, where Russell might have been the second best center in the league, and Wilt would absolutely dominate. Now, granted, nobody else on the Philly team would dominate. Meanwhile, Bill Russell had as close to a murderer's row of basketball as you can get.
That's true.
So, Wilt is the GOAT. If you're going to put winning as the ultimate value, then you got to put Bill Russell up there because that man has more rings than fingers.
No, right? No, I don't disagree.
If you're going to put like I always talk about Jordan 6, Kobe's 5. 6 plus 5 is 11, and that's Bill Russell.
Oh yeah, check that out. Okay, and I mean, listen, if you talk about dominance, right? I'll be honest with you. I've had this. Now just for the record, I will say that. I still say Jordan is the GOAT, and I have Kobe and Kareem over LeBron. They're my so I actually think it's Jordan. I think it's Kareem. It's Kobe, and then I do put LeBron. But for dominance though, where's Shaq go, man?
I think Shaq is up there.
Just dominance. You're talking about he changed the game.
He changed the game, and he was so good at what he was good at.
Yes.
You had no choice but to turn a blind eye to what he wasn't good at.
Yes.
I remember, and it's something I would talk to Mike Jones about all the time. When Shaq came into the league, I thought that Alonzo Mourning was a better player. I thought he had a more polished game.
He did.
100% had a more polished game than Shaquille O'Neal. Yes. Shaquille O'Neal was so dominant, it didn't matter.
Right.
That Shaquille O'Neal was so dominant, he could wait on the polish. Whereas Zoe came into the league polished.
Yes.
Zoe came into the league, could hit the mid-range jumper, could bang underneath.
Yep.
Could hit a 3 if you needed to. Whereas Shaq, he was just going to eat you up in the post, and that's it. But he ate so many people up in the post, it didn't matter. You didn't need him there, the mid-range jumper.
Exactly, you did, man.
You didn't need Shaq to hit no mid-range jumper.
It didn't matter.
You need Shaq to hit free throws.
Yep.
We're going to win this chip with the guy shooting 2 for 17 from the free throw line.
All that, whatever he was trying to do with that, I was horrendous.
Exactly. No, Shaq was absolutely, Shaq was a dog,
He really was. Now, JD says Walton and Dr. J changed the game also.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
There's a lot of game changers.
Well, that's the thing. You hear, and this is another conversation I have with people, because people just think it's unfathomable to think that LeBron could ever be better than Jordan. And once upon a time, it was equally as hard to believe that Jordan was ever going to be better than Doc.
Yes.
You ask those old school basketball fans from the 80s, when they first started talking about Jordan as the next GOAT. And they're like, whoa, this guy can't be better than Dr. J. Who is this guy you think is better? Because he has some flashy sneakers?
Exactly.
They should say, who is this guy with these Nikes on? Who wears Nikes?
Nike.
Hand me my Converses.
Oh, my God, man. Listen, man, there's a lot of game changers,
yes,
and there's a lot of game changers.
Yes.
Like Steph Curry changed the position.
Yeah.
Obviously, AI changed the culture.
Yeah.
I say it all the time. AI brought hip hop and street to the game.
Yes.
And again, I mean, you look at it, man. It's all these different errors, and I love going back and watching.
Oh yeah.
I love going back and watching, man.
Mm-hmm.
But listen, JB, man, this has been awesome, bro.
Yeah,
like,
man, I appreciate
seriously,
it, man.
this has been fun. I mean,
you do this every Monday night.
Every 3 Mondays a month.
3 Mondays a month.
3 Mondays a month.
You just come to this spot
6 to 9,
and they just let you put up a
they just let you put shout out to my man Matt McCarthy, my man that owns Pike's Pub.
Yes, let you come in here,
yes, sir,
with your laptop and just do a show.
Yes, and broadcast it out to the world.
They
best in the world.
Best in the world. I appreciate it.
Yeah, baby.
This is awesome, bro.
Yeah, man. So, check it before we get out of here, man. What you got? Like, I know you throw it out there, but when is your podcast go? Like, is it a certain night or just once a week?
Once a week, usually on Thursdays. We try to stick to Thursdays. That is the Jonesy and Brown podcast. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Jonesy and Brown, or you can also follow us at BITW Sports. That's once again Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. If you are a fan of throwback hip hop and R&B, you can catch me on PhillyGoFlow.com. Once again, Philly Go Flow. I'm on from 2 to 6, playing that old 90s hip hop and that
the best era ever.
Exactly. All that stuff that your parents used to not let you listen to because it had the sticker on in the corner.
PE.
Exactly.
Or PA. I'm sorry, PA. Parental
advisory. Thank you, Tipper Gore.
Yeah.
But all that music, you can hear that 2 to 6 from me, PhillyGoFlow.com. We're on right now if you want to. I mean, don't turn away from
nah, man, yo.
I would not.
It is all good. My man JD checking says, great job, JB. Been fun.
Appreciate that.
Listen, JD, you're gonna be hearing more of JB.
Now that I know where y'all at.
See?
I'm no longer waiting for an invitation.
Listen, man, that's what it's all about.
As long as you're going to set up, you just go keep that microphone right over there.
Yes, sir.
You might just, you just might hear me.
Yeah, man. You beatboxing?
We interrupt the show. I have something to say.
I love it, man.
I appreciate this, man. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, and everybody, just make sure you subscribe to the Tony Cutillo Show on YouTube, because this will have I podcast every single one of these episodes in their entirety and the interviews exclusively. So it will have all of JB's information there as well. So you'll be able to just click and go and be good to go.
I need those follows, man.
Yeah, man. We all do, man.
I can't afford to get myself verified.
Yeah,
I can't afford that, man.
Elon just keeps up in the game on us, brother. You know what I mean?
That man can't have no more of my money, man. I need to get verified the old-fashioned way through some popularity.
Yeah, man. So cred.
Exactly.
So wait. So Alex can't give you that cred, man?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
That woman has a career. She needs.
She's awesome.
She can't be associated with.
Maybe Mike. Maybe Mike.
Mike could stand it. He can hang out with me.
Yeah, Mike's all right, man. He's an interesting guy, man.
Good people. I thank that place for their employment, because they pay for whatever I have over here.
I hear you, brother, man. Yo, you're always doing it every day, man. Early,
I'm trying to catch up with you, man, because you have an empire here. I respect people who are out here doing it, who are not waiting for these corporations, for these these huge companies to give them a voice, because now you can go out and create your own voice, create your own movement, and I respect that out of you, man. You've always had good stuff to say, even when I disagree with you. I appreciate
man.
Your voice.
Absolutely, it's all mutual, man, which is great.
And you gave me a mic. I support anyone who put me on their show.
Hell yeah, baby. Hey, you gave me too. You let Jigsaw come on your crowd.
Like,
you know what I mean? And that's, you could be scared about that every now and then, because you never know what he's going to say.
No, not you. Look, we're not in a position of burning any bridges.
No.
I will not make an enemy out of you.
No.
93 people are watching right now.
Yeah, they're all over, man.
That's 97 more than I would have. No.
Stop, man. Listen, we will be back, and we're going to take a 2-minute break. I'll come back with our boy Japan, who's going to give you some of those stone cold locks tonight for the Monday Night Football doubleheader. So make sure you stay right here on the Tony Cutillo Show. We'll be back in a couple minutes. And we're back right here live from Pike. What a segment that was, man. That went almost an hour long talking all things basketball. You talk about, we went back old school Philly, old school national. That's what we do right here on the Tony Cutillo Show with my man JB coming in here live from bestintheworldsports.com. Make sure you check it out. And again, like as always, make sure you get over to the YouTube page and you subscribe and you'll get all his information. I saw a couple people checking in how smooth the man is. Very, very informative when it comes to the world, especially basketball, man. Does some really, really good things. And as always, like I tell you, I'm trying to bring different personalities to everybody, not just the norm. A lot of talented people out there that you don't always hear from and don't get the notoriety they deserve. I'm trying to change that. Speaking of change, we got a doubleheader tonight in the NFL. And I'm not saying that, listen, the first game starts at 8. I like. The 8:30 game, maybe not so much, right? So, but we're gonna bring our man, friend of the program, in here. We're gonna bring our man Japan here. Our one of our betting guys here, Japan. What's going on, brother?
Not much. Just here, ready to grind. 2 doubleheader, ready to watch some good football and some Monday night. Ready to get into it.
I love it, man. Monday Night Football. Maybe some UFC talk, maybe. Who knows? But right now, Monday Night Football, this is live on the Rise and React Media line. We got Japan at JPAN_5 on X. Make sure you get at him. Listen, he's always dropping things. Jumping in and driving the line, in the club. I didn't get any first touchdown bets tonight, Japan. I'll be honest with you. I forgot all about it. I was doing my own thing, man. But what are you looking at tonight in this first game that's ready to kick off in about 10 minutes?
That first game, I went ahead and I went with Drake London over his receptions, and at 5.5, and I got that at 108, and I went with that. That's just both of my plays tonight are just emotional hedges. I got both of my players in fantasy leagues, so my fantasy. I need them to do good. So if it doesn't do good, I won't cash my bets and I won't move on. So, but that's the reason why I went Drake London. I just think Kirk Cousins is going to get it out to him. That's his guy. Hopefully he hasn't thrown a touch. Kirk Cousins hasn't thrown a touchdown in about 40 days. It's been since the beginning of November. So that's a crazy stat. Hopefully he can get Drake London, get over 5.5 receptions, maybe find the end zone. I'm hoping a big game from London today in the first game. And then moving to the second game, I took Aaron Jones over 65.5 rushing yards. And I just think with the Chicago defense that he can get that and he can run all over them. And then I also did the Vikings first half -3.5 at -120. And that's just a play on the Bears coming out flat first half. I don't know if they don't know when the game starts at all, but they just don't first half, and second half they turn it on and they do pretty good. And another leans that I did have were Caleb Williams rush yards. I didn't fire on that. Did like that. Mayer's receptions over 2.5 at plus money. I like that.
I took that. I took the plus money, Michael Mayer. I did. Yeah. I and again, for those who don't know, I do a thing called the plus money prop train for OddsShopper Tails. Get over to OddsShopper Tails. You see the link in the description. It's $20 a month, and literally it's nothing but plus money bets. And I literally, again, I say this all the time. We're hitting at a 68% clip on plus money bets, Japan. So that was one of them that I saw. I listen, when it's plus money, and you got to get them early, because when it's plus money, it sits there, but they change, man. They change. Now you went Drake London, who I love. I went plus money Darnell Mooney over 4.5 at plus 130 when I got it. I got that at ESPN Bet. Now I like that just because, again, I think Kirk Cousins. This is the way I think. Kirk Cousins is playing for his job. Right, I'll be honest with you. There was a lot of Penix talk, a lot of Michael Penix talk, and Kirk Cousins is like, "Yo, I need to silence this Michael Penix talk right in the ass, man. Like, I need to shut it up." And I think he goes. I think he's going to hammer London, and I think he's going to go deep multiple times to Darnell Mooney. So I actually have I have Mooney at over 4.5. I have like a 3 combo, right? I got Mooney over 4.5 at plus money. I got Mooney over 51.5 at like -115, and I have him going for an ATD anytime touchdown as well, because I think he's going to get it tonight, man. I'm all in on the Mooney train tonight.
You're right. I mean, Kirk Cousins is definitely playing for his job, but then again, this could be in Kirk Cousins' back pocket to get another big contract like he always does. I mean, he has a good agent. He knows to maneuver that way. So I am rooting for Kurt. I hope he does good. But then again, I do want to see what Penix can do in that offense and see what kind of boost he gives to that offense. So it's kind of a double-edged sword there. I mean, you want to see what you got, and then you don't want to – you're paying this guy all this money you probably should have saved. But
yes. But they didn't know, right? They didn't know. I mean, that's what happens, right? They didn't know. It's like what happened, here in Philly. Now, we pay Carson Wentz all that money, right? Yeah, I'm going to say the name, right? We pay Carson Wentz all that money. We cut him with a big dead cap hit because we didn't know that we were going to draft another quarterback at that time, right? So it's just like Atlanta didn't know. Penix dropped them. He was there. They took him because Kirk Cousins, he signs a 3-year guaranteed deal, right? It's guaranteed money.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't matter. So that's the key. Like they're going to be willing to eat that if they want to. So if Kirk were to get cut and they eat the dead cat, guess what? Kirk, like you just said, can get another contract from another team and double dip, which is crazy to me. So we listen, we shall see how this game goes on. But I want to ask you about this Minnesota-Chicago game because we here in Philadelphia are very invested in this game, right? We need a loss from Minnesota. And I said earlier, like, I don't think that Minnesota is as good as their record dictates. I really, that did sound really bad right there. Hopefully that didn't come off the way it sounded. But anyway, because it definitely didn't sound like dictate. It sounded like a taste and something else, but I'm not going to get into that. But what I will say is I'm looking at this and I'm going, this team, I'm not sold on Darnold. I know he's having a good reclamation project. Good, he's coming back. He's playing good. But it's like, am I really going to sell myself on a defense that's suspect and is very inconsistent and a guy in Darnold? Like, I'm not. I don't see it in Minnesota, in my opinion.
No, 100% correct. I mean, you put all that faith in Darnold, but then again, when he lets the ball fly, it comes with those interceptions. So turning the ball over and not take care of the ball, and that's what he does. That's what he's been known for. So with him throwing the ball, and if they're going to keep – their defense isn't going to do anything and their offense has to stay up-tempo all game and has to throw the ball, those mistakes are going to come, which in the end will haunt him because he cannot play mistake-free football, which they have to do for them to win. And, I mean, you got Jordan Addison in the slot, Justin Jefferson probably going to take the top off. Hopefully he has a big game. And then on the other side, you got to see if Keenan Allen's going to do anything. You got Rome Tuesday. He should do something. And, I mean, their offensive line for the Bears has gotten a little bit better, but there's still not enough time for Caleb to set his feet and get everything for him to go through his progressions and everything. So that's where I see him taking off a lot. And the books have not adjusted his line in rushing yards, and he's gone over it the last 4 or 5 games.
Yep.
So it's one of those things you got to keep watching, and hopefully Caleb can get things going. And I mean, I do have the Vikings first half, and maybe they can get the first half, and then Bears can come out in the second half and get them going.
Yeah, listen, I mean, the one thing about Caleb Williams, he's not afraid to take off. It's just a matter of, is he going to take off, when he's supposed to take off, right? Sometimes these young guys hold on to the ball way too long. And when they hold on to too long, they get sacked before they take off, right? We see that. LaMelo Ball did play tonight. Okay, I'm checking as we're watching here because I took LaMelo Ball's threes over 3.5 because it was plus money. It's what I will say. I bet a lot of NBA. And I will say one thing about LaMelo Ball. I know he's coming back from injury, but if I can get a plus money bet for LaMelo Ball that's under 4 3-pointers made, bro, I'm taking it every single day. Okay, because it's like the Steph Curry number. When Steph Curry is under 4, it's over 3.5. You got to take it, man. They just shoot so many times. But looking at the other end, I got this plus money bet, and I have been hitting. I don't know if you bet IDP. But I love betting the IDP market, the individual defensive players. I love the tackles plus assists. It's a great number. You look at it, I break it down. Kevin Byard, now dude's been a tackling machine. He sucked here in Philly, okay, but tackling machine for Chicago. I got his number, and I got this early. I got actually 3:54 p.m. I got it. I got his over 7.5 tackles plus assists at plus 115. I mean, this guy literally, and this is the way I think it is, Japan. And I tell everybody, like, I don't just throw out bets. I think of them logically, right? So I'm looking at this Minnesota team. What do they do best? They pass. Okay, so if they pass a lot to guys like Addison, guys like Hawkinson, right? Guys like even Naylor getting involved besides Jefferson, who's going to make those tackles? It's going to be that free safety. It's going to be that guy. So this dude's going to get all those extra tackles. So I thought that number was great. And to get a plus money, man, I'm looking forward to that one too.
Yeah, I mean, that is a good one. I haven't really dived into those defensive props.
That's my favorite. That's the only reson why I do it.
I've got into single interception props that are pretty cool to get into those too. But I need to dive into that market and see what I can find.
Yeah, it's really so. I started when I started my fantasy football career. I started in IDPs. That's what I made my mark in, and that's why I look at it, because you can really find in the betting market. Not a lot of people know about them, so the numbers aren't fueled too much by the money coming in, because there's not a lot of bets on them. Right. So you can really get some really good value. So tell Coach that one. He needs to bet those IDPs, man. I'm telling you. But nah, man, all good.
He's got to do something. I mean, hopefully he's putting his first touchdown bets one that I have in tonight will be Brock Bowers' first touchdown. Yes. And I got that at plus 1,100. And so
wow, that's a big one.
Yeah, I mean, it's Brock Bowers.
Over plus 1,000, right? It's got to be over 1,000. Is that the way?
1,000 or more to get into the club, first touchdown. And I mean, I only have Brock Bowers. I don't. Maybe a cool one in the other game, a fun one, not to say, would be the no touchdown bet, which was pretty cool. On Thursday, that one hit, and that was at like plus 16,000. So that was crazy hit. Didn't bet it, but crazy to see that.
That's like the zero on like the roulette wheel, right? That nobody really bets it, but when it comes out, it's like, oh man, like I wish I would have bet it. Right? So
how can you go up to the counter and say, no touchdowns on this game, please? and put some money on it. Like, and then, like, it's just, I don't see it. I mean, it could happen. It did happen, and it's going to happen in the future, but it's just to call that, man, that's hard.
Oh man, Adam checking in says, what's up, Tony? A little late tonight. Nice parlay hits this weekend, including mine. Yeah, listen, Adam hit on your guy, man. He hit on Shakir last night, so he had a combo bet, man, and he needed Shakir. As soon as Shakir scored, man, that was it, man. He had the two guys he needed, and boom, he cashed that ticket, man.
What did I say about Khalil Shakir in August?
Yes,
I told you all that off-season work he was putting in with Eric Moles was going to pay off. Oh, Josh Allen, what is he going to do with these weapons? This supporting cast isn't going to be enough. He is doing exactly what I said. Now, Josh Allen, I was wrong about him. He has played way over my expectations, but his supporting cast has stepped up to the plate, and I feel like the Bills, not to get off topic, will make a deep run into the playoffs and maybe into the Super Bowl.
I'll tell you, man, like, here's what I will say. Right? I got to ask you this, right? But I mentioned this earlier about the Bills. I get it, but at the same time, they couldn't stop anybody.
That's
right. So I know they got Matt Milano back, right? So, but still, man, I don't know if that's enough. That defense has looked like it's treading oil.
Well, 100%. They can't stop anything. They can't stop the run. You can pass on them. You can do whatever you want. But if they get into a shootout and Josh Allen doesn't play and does play mistake-free football, they do have a shot. But, like, again, he's got to play mistake-free football. Make no mistake. He's done it this year, but how long can you go with not making a mistake, turning the ball over? And when they lost to the Rams last on Thursday, I think it was, or Monday, it was on Sunday, excuse me. It was a block punt that lost them the game, one turnover. So that was special teams. So their whole team has to play mistake-free football to them win. And Josh Allen has to keep his foot on the gas and keep going.
Yeah, man, he's got to keep his foot on the gas. Adam said he had AJ Brown. He texted me too. He said, I'm taking AJ Brown and Shakir. Both anytime touchdowns, he put him on a combo ticket and he hit, man. So good for him, man. So I'll tell you this. I got a weird one tonight, Japan. So I always bet these odd ones, and I tell everybody that always do the round robins with these because odds are you're going to get a couple hits. So I did an anytime touchdown for Mooney, which I talked about, Jordan Addison, and Cole Kmet. So I did a Cole Kmet, he's the oddball, right? So that's plus 3,050, plus 3,050. But I did a round robin 2 or 3. So I have single bets on them. I have the parlay, and I have the round robin, right? So again, JD says, why couldn't Laporta score all those touchdowns? Ruined my parlays. Yeah, man, that's the problem, man. Laporta. Yeah, he was hurt so much, and then all those touchdowns with Jared Goff, none of them go to Laporta, man. It sucks, but it's so true.
Even yesterday, my bad beat. I didn't have a bad beat in the Colts and Broncos game. I was on the Broncos with Jonathan Taylor fumbling and at the one, and that happened 2 or 3 times yesterday. What is going on? Take that football when you score a touchdown, take that football to the sideline.
We saw that back in the day with Deshaun Jackson did that one time here in Philly. Remember that? We killed him for it. Same thing. I just don't. I mean, I get look. The adrenaline's going. I understand, right? You see it. You're like, wow, you work your ass off. You finally get in the end zone, so you're ready. But man, just at least please make sure that you're past the line. Like, you got it. Like that ruined the whole game, man. Like, it's not just from a betting or a fantasy perspective, but from the actual game, man. Like that was terrible. That's a shame, man. Who was the other guy who did it?
It was a defense, but the Jonathan Taylor has no excuse because he's a running back. But the other two that did it were defensive players.
Yes,
but okay, you don't score. You've never been there. You don't know how to act. But come on.
Exactly, man. Exactly. I agree. Adam says, who you guys think is leading the MVP at this weekend, Lamar or Josh Allen? Japan, I'll let you go first, man. What do you think?
Well, after the first drive in the Ravens game, Lamar Jackson fumbled it. So right after that, I mean, he can't take care of the ball. They did win the game, but he can't take care of the ball. And Josh Allen, the last 2 games, had 10 touchdowns, no turnovers. So, I mean, just in that aspect, Josh Allen's taking care of the ball. And, I mean, just in that, he's taking care of the ball better than Lamar. He's just getting too careless with it.
I agree, man. I think it's Josh Allen, 100%. Like the last 2 weeks, it is what it is. He's just playing out of his mind, right? He's just playing out of his mind.
He's playing out of his mind, and these would be the 2 weeks that I go against him in fantasy, back-to-back weeks.
Oh. Dude, I will say this, man. Luckily for me, I had a bye, right? I had a first round bye. My 2 running backs are Saquon and Derrick Henry. So I am and the guy I would have played scored 204 points. I would have got destroyed, and I'm 12-1. Okay, right. So it would have been such a terrible beat if I would have lost. So thank God for the bye. That's all I got to say. Thank God for the bye.
The 2 leagues that I have 2-round buys, I'm doing good. And then the 2 leagues that I'm playing this weekend, both leagues, I'm going against Josh Allen.
Wow.
And then they had Devontae Adams. He went off too. And the thing is, at halftime, he had 0 points.
Who could have predicted that?
0.
Oh, God. He went absolutely bananas.
I was like, oh, he's not going to get any points. I'm going to do pretty good. And then second half comes, he goes bananas. Like, what?
It is crazy, man. It is crazy.
Like,
well, man, did you? Before I let you go, how did your weekend? Was there? I don't even know UFC. Was there any fights this weekend?
I had one just on UFC. The card this past weekend, UFC in Tampa, Knockout Central, amazing card. There was about two fights that went to decision. A great card. And then pretty good betting weekend. I hit on the Texans, Broncos, and then Packers were my 3 hit. And then no UFC for the next 3 weeks. 311 will be a banger of a card on January 11th.
Okay.
You got Islam Makhachev. He'll be in the corner. So that one will be amazing to watch. I'll have some good bets for that one coming up. And then he did announce that Tom Aspinall and John Jones will be fighting somewhere in 2025. So for that fight. And as from what I've seen a little back when they opened the opening odds, they got John Jones as a dog.
Really?
All over it. There's no way. There's no way.
I love it, man. Japan putting the early numbers in. I love it, man. But Japan, listen, man, as always, man, I know you're a busy guy, for your 15 to 20 minutes every Monday that we're here. I greatly appreciate it. I'm glad that you're hopping on, giving everybody the knowledge, giving everybody the bets, man. You got anything coming up before I let you go?
No, that's all I got here. Whenever you got a show and you want me on, I'll be here, man. Just let me know, and I'll make sure I'm available to be on. Thank you for having me here. And if you guys are watching, please hit that like, subscribe, tell a friend, bring them in the chat, and we're going to keep giving out these good bets we have.
Yeah, man. Good bets, good information, good people, man. Japan, listen, brother, you have a fantastic week. We'll catch you next Monday, right before the holiday. We'll sprinkle everybody a little jingle bells, a little jingle cheer right here from Pike's Pub, man. You have a great night, and we'll talk soon.
You too. Y'all have a great night.
There he is, our guy Japan, man, checking in. Make sure you give him a follow at JPAN_5 with all the bets. But you see this microphone, we're going to go to break, but you see this microphone right here, man. It's going to get a really good workup again. Man, my man Jimmy Mack is going to be answering all the tough questions. We're going to be talking Phillies for the next 45 minutes. We want to know, man, like what the hell is going on in Philadelphia, Philly land? Are we doing anything? Should we be doing anything? The money with these contracts, and I will explain to you why I cannot stand Mr. Soto anymore. Like I actually was a Juan Soto kind of. I wasn't a fan, but I was like, you know what? This dude's all right. Guess what? He's on my Manny Machado list now, which means I can't stand the guy. After hearing some of his comments and what he's done, man, I'm out on my man Juan Soto. But we're gonna go take a break. We're gonna be back at 8:15. We're gonna be back at 8:15 right here live from Pike's Pump for the last segment, last 45 minutes, where we dive deep into Ring the Bell news, hot stove MLB, Philadelphia Phillies. Make sure you keep it locked right here, tune in right here on the Tony Cutillo Show, live from Pike's Pub. We are live right back here for the final segment right here on the Tony Cutillo Show, live from Pike's Pub, like we are every Monday. Well, 3 out of 4 Mondays, that is, right here in beautiful Bucks County, 455 2nd Street Pike, across from the new Dunkin' Donuts, right next to the Great Angelo's and Southampton Beverage. Make sure you get down here. As always, you can watch the show or during the week, man. It's the home of the $3 specials for lunch, man. So make sure you get those $3 lunch specials. Get on that Pike's Pub Facebook page to find out that menu every single day. Now, we had a fantastic show earlier. We talked a lot of good stuff. We talked about birds. We talked about NFL. We talked old school basketball. Great stuff from my man JB. Checking in was fantastic. Got there live. Make sure best in the world. Best BITS sports.com, best in the world, BITW sports.com, I should say. Check him out as well on the Jonesy and Brown show. And then we talked to our boy Japan, breaking down this Monday Night Football game with doubleheader, some bets, some UFC coming in. But here's the juice, man. We only got a lot of Phillies news, and we saved the best for last when it comes to finding out the inside information. There's been a lot of stuff that happened after our week off. People have signed. Juan Soto has signed. Other people have signed, right? There's been trade talk. The winter meetings are over, and the Philadelphia Phillies have a new one-year closer, which is about it. So I'm going to bring my man, as always, friend of the program, your own Jimmy Mack right here, talking some, I'll say, I labeled it Phillies misses and maybe new targets with Jimmy Mack. What's up, Jim?
Hey, Tony, thanks. We picked the wrong week to take a week off, right?
Oh, man.
Because
action.
Everything changed.
Wow.
So now 15 of the top 50 free agents are off the board. Like you mentioned, the one free agent the Phillies did sign was not one of the top 50.
Nope.
Now, again, I don't hate him. I don't hate the signing. He's actually, he's been a successful closer with some pretty nasty stuff, but I don't think that's what any of us thought, we were going to be talking about 2 weeks ago. The Jordan Romano's the big, signing to date with the Phillies. There's also been 5 big trades.
Yeah, the trades. That's right.
And of course, the Phillies are not in any of them. Everybody who listens knows that I was a big Juan Soto proponent. I tell you what, I don't know that I feel bad that we missed out on him, just because that was such a unbelievable contract. It's funny because I look at it and I'm like, well, I kind of got a half win because I did say, number one, that the Mets were the most likely to sign him.
Yep.
So I'll give myself a half a check for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I got the AAV pretty darn close.
Yes, you did.
I had guess 12 years, 600 million. So it'd have been 50 million a pop. He ended up signing for 51. So I think I got that. I don't know that I would have ever guessed 15 years. Not that at his age, I can see why that happened, but I just didn't think any owner would be willing to sign off on that much money for that many years for a guy that is probably going to DH in 5 years. So the last 10 years of the deal, you're going to be paying 51 million or more to a guy who's going to be your DH.
Crazy, man. Like I will say this, like after watching that, I'm gonna get like after watching his news conference, and I get it, right? Like we knew it was about the money. Like that's the one thing that bothers me when you're signing for the money. Just say it. Yeah. Like honestly, I think I forget the last person who said it. Somebody had said, I've one athlete back in the day was like, oh, because they paid me the most. I'd respect you more, right? Dude, this guy's an ace. Like, obviously, like he comes out and he talks, and he hasn't talked to anybody since the postseason. Like, nobody from the Yankees has come out and like, man, I wish we would have signed Juan Soto. Like, we're gonna miss Juan. Nobody said a goddamn word. Nobody even gave him like a round of applause. No, this guy's not liked. And I can see why. Like, he is in love with Juan Soto. Like, Juan Soto's in love with Juan Soto. This is Manny Machado all over again to me.
I think you could be right, Tony.
Wow.
I was struck right after the World Series, like in the locker room.
Yep.
Being interviewed right afterwards. And, he basically says, hey, I'm open to all 30 teams, all, offers from everyone. And I was like, man, that's just really bad timing. It's like, the right answer would have been just, hey, you know what, we just lost a hard series here.
Yep.
You know, my teammates and I were really proud about what we did and what we accomplished, and there's more left to do. Let's talk about the offseason some other time. But he didn't do that. He was obviously looking forward to hitting the market, looking forward to probably already thinking he's leaving the Yankees.
Yes.
Just by making those comments, you're like, you've already burned the bridge. You might not have burned it completely, but you set it on fire.
Oh, absolutely, man. Listen, it's a shame because he is so talented. And, and we talked about him being, the perfect piece to this lineup if he were to come here. But that's over now, right? He's with the Mets. It is what it is. It's done. But my biggest thing is, like you said, you talked to trade market. A guy that we talked about was Kyle Tucker. And you look at the compensation from the Cubs and you're like, wait a minute. We couldn't have done that. And then, Jim, you come to find out. Now, whether it's true or not, we don't know, right? But you come to find out that Dombro says, they offered Castellanos and Bone? Yeah. Really? Come on, man. Like, yeah, that had to be a joke, right?
I would think so. So the only way I think that's possibly true would be if they offered those two and offered to pick up all of Castellanos' salary so that maybe then the Astros could then re-sign Bregman at third and afford him. So that's the only way I think there's any chance that could have been a serious offer. That's not really what, Houston doesn't want a guy in his, early 30s who's already being paid above market, for his, for his production.
Yep.
They can't deal with that.
No.
Bohm, I would think they would have some interest in, but obviously they're not as enthralled with Bohm as, Dave Dombrowski thinks teams should be. That
is definitely true. And I don't know if you caught this because you do. I know you listen to a lot of MLB radio, but did you see the quote by Jim Bowden about Dombro?
No, I don't. I might have missed it then.
So Bowden came on the radio. It was actually today. It was this morning, and on MLB radio on Sirius, and they asked him about the trade, and he says, "Yeah, that's typical Dave Dombrowski. For years, he always tried to give me his overpriced trash." He's like, he always did it. He's like, and he would keep doing it, and finally, he would get one team to say yes. So it almost seems like maybe he did. Like, it's crazy, man.
That could be true. Now, but Tucker. Like, where I said, hey, Soto, I'm kind of glad they didn't, the Phillies did not get their man there.
Right.
Tucker hurts.
Yes, it does.
So Tucker is a guy, I always say, Soto, he's going into his age 26 season. Well, you know what? Tucker's going into his age 28 season.
Yep.
Yes, he's a free agent at the end of the year, but the Cubs didn't give up a whole heck of a lot. The third baseman they gave up was somebody who didn't fit with them anyway. Now, he does fit better in Houston. He's a dead pull hitter. And he took advantage of that in Tampa when he got traded to Houston. Paredes was terrible, and he was even worse in Wrigley than he was on the road because again he's a dead pull hitter, and the line down in Wrigley is I think it's like 340 or something down the line.
Yeah,
it's only 315 in Houston, and I think it's somewhat similar in Tampa. So he's a better fit in Houston anyway. It's probably one of the reasons why Houston was interested in him. Their first round pick from last year, he looks like he could be a power guy. He's only had 1 year of minor league. He moved quickly through the system, and then the pitcher, I don't know that the pitcher is anything special.
I don't think so.
The Phillies could have easily beaten that offer. Whether or not, Bohm, I think could have been part of it. I think you could have convinced Houston to take Bohm if you then put a prospect or two that was interesting into the deal. And that hurts because Tucker I'm not going to say he's a better hitter than Juan Soto, but he's a better all-around player.
Yes, he is.
He can play the field.
Yep.
He can run the bases.
Agreed.
So I would, and he won't be a DH in 5 years.
Exactly.
So this hurts. This could have been a huge signing. It would have been the only thing, same with Soto, the only downside to acquiring him would be he's another lefty. So,
I thought about that too.
But guess what? You get a guy like that, you adapt.
Doesn't matter. Exactly. It doesn't matter.
Exactly.
It doesn't. And now, again, Al says, I think the Phillies will make a move, but just not to make a deal. It has to make sense. Listen, I agree. I do. Adam says, I saw an article when possibly going to give JT load. I saw that load management this year, like 2 days off a week, though his numbers will be better. I will say this about that. I want to make this quick point before we go on about Alec Bone, but I heard a lot of people that were very misguided on the radio this weekend, and I want to kind of help people understand what they really should know. Garrett Stubbs, yes, did sign a 1-year deal, but it was literally like a half minor league deal. Okay. So people have to understand that, meaning he can be sent down to the minors, and Rafael Marchand can be. So everybody's got to stop saying, well, you're going to have 3 cuts. No, understand the dynamics of this. So stop worrying about this. The thing, Jim, know about this JT thing that's interesting is, does this now mean that, and we talked about this earlier today through a Facebook Messenger about Bryce Harper maybe possibly going back out to the outfield?
So there has been more talk about that. I know Dombrowski didn't rule it out earlier in the offseason. I know Bryce has said he's willing to do it. And, the way that the Phillies have missed out on potentially helping the outfielders via free agency or trade, they might be forced to do this and then look to, replace the first baseman, where you have, guys that could come in and do a good job. Like I mean, personally, I like Christian Walker. Let's bring the Philly boy back.
Yes.
He's a Gold Glove defender.
Yes.
And he's a good bat. And now, again, a little bit of swing and miss, but not outrageous swing and miss. So I think he would be a good,
like Christian Walker, man.
Yeah, he'd be a good replacement if you do that. Again, you're getting, and while there's swing and miss, you're getting Marsh out of being, he won't be a regular anymore, who had more swing and miss. So
yes,
you are improving the swing and miss. Now, the one interesting thing about the Cubs getting Tucker,
Bellinger.
No, so I do not want, I know I've said this before. I do not want Cody Bellinger. I stick to that.
Okay.
But what's interesting is they do have a glut of outfielders now. And the one guy, I bet you I'm going to surprise you with this. I didn't really tip my hat to this.
Okay.
I get your your reaction on air. Seiya Suzuki.
Wow.
So now he is a right-handed hitter.
Yep.
He is not a great right fielder, but
nope.
I would move him to left field. It would still probably, he's not the defender Marsh would be in left.
But he's not Reese Hoskins.
No, he is not. He is not a butcher.
Right, exactly. No disrespect, Reese, but just say.
Right. So Seiya Suzuki, if you could get him. Now the Cubs want to trade Bellinger.
Yes.
So they're much more likely to say yes to a Bellinger deal. But if they can convince, the Cubs to say, hey, listen, we don't want Bellinger. The Yankees apparently did, but now nothing's happened. So you kind of think they're backing away probably.
Yep.
So now it's like, hey, we'll take Suzuki. We'll give you a decent package for him. He's signed for 2 years, $19 million a year. And he's a very good hitter. And this shocked me because I knew, he's a 20 homer, 75 RBI guy. But when you look at one my favorite, not my favorite, but one of my favorite stats, and the one that I look at first when I look at any offensive player is OPS plus. So this is looking at their on base plus slugging, compare it to the league, and it normalizes it too. So like if you're in a hitter's park, it's going to kind of normalize your stats to the rest of the league, so you don't get any unfair advantages.
I like this.
So his OPS plus last year was 138, which is very good. His career OPS plus is 128, which take a guess on where that would rank him in the current career players. So everybody who's active right now.
Everybody's just active outfielders?
No, not out.
All together.
All positions.
That's a high number.
Yeah. So what do you?
He's got to be in the top 20.
You know what? You got it. You got it on the.
It's got to be.
It's number 20.
Yeah, I mean that's a high number.
Yeah. And that shocks me. Yes.
Wow, I would have never known that.
I thought he was top 20. Now he's only been in the league 3 years.
Still, how old is he?
Yeah. I think 30.
30, yeah.
I think so. Somewhere, 29.
This is prime.
Yes, exactly. So I'd be very happy if he would, if we could make a trade, get him, put him in left field, Castellano staying right, and then Rojas and Marshall just have to run their butts off.
Man, that would be
until Crawford gets the call.
That's okay. That would be great, man. I would love to see that. Al says people misguided on sports talk radio. No way, that never happens. Yeah, exactly, Al. You know how that goes. And he says, "Who's this?" Tony looks familiar. This is my man, Jimmy McGinnis, man. Al, you've probably gone back and forth with him on Facebook a lot. He's a lot of Phillies groups on Facebook. I'm sure you've seen him commenting on things as well. So I'm sure you know who he is. That's why he probably looks familiar. Probably saw his profile picture up there. I guarantee it. So Adam says, Harper play right field. So does that mean Casty is gone because you can't have Schwarber in left?
So again, if they don't make a move, the thought would be they move Casty to left. So, I don't know that I love that. But if they don't make a move, there's no other choice, because you're right. You're not putting Schwarber in left field. So I think again, there's the one trade, but that might be the only trade because I don't know of any other guys available. Like you're not hearing too many outfielder names dropped. Bellinger's all over the place, but nobody's biting. And then Suzuki would be the other one that I think the Cubs would trade because, the salary's up there a little bit, but still very, very affordable for what he's giving you. And he's also, not the best fielder. The Cubs would have a better defensive outfield if he wasn't in the outfield. So again, so the Philly, that would be a drawback coming to Philly, but another good right-handed bat, another solid guy. The best thing about it, he does strike out a little bit, but he doesn't chase. So, so if the ball, if it's a ball well out of the zone, low and outside, he's not, going for it. He has a good walk rate, very solid, over 10% walk rate.
We need that.
And his hitting profile, when you look at, he hits the ball hard, he hits the ball on the line, he gets barrels. So he's a very good hitter. And I think, and then there's the second piece, because another rumor is, the Phillies are all in on Roki Sasaki.
Yeah, I saw that. Of course,
like 2018.
I was going to say, on Roki get in line.
Yeah. But I think if we had, say, a Suzuki, there would be more of a draw to come to Philly. I don't know that, Roki Sasaki wants to come to Philly if there's nobody else who speaks his language. And the Phillies have had so few Japanese players over the years that, they don't really have what I'd call a support network already set up. Now, I'm sure they would set one up for him. Makes sense. But I think he'd feel better if there was somebody else in the locker room who understood, the struggles he's going to have coming to a new country and adapting to
he would definitely be more comfortable.
Yes, exactly. So that to me is a side benefit to bringing that in, but you improve the lineup and you improve your chance of getting Sasaki. I don't know that he would still come to an East Coast team. I don't know if he went to an East Coast team, it still wouldn't be the Mets. They have their own Kodai Senga, a pitcher who, again, he'd be in the pitching room with them, take him through all the ropes and so that might still be an advantage Mets if for an East Coast team. But I like, I think the Phillies, they're not wrong to be all in on them. This would help them improve their odds.
I'll tell you what, man. Like if Suzuki gets traded here and this comes out there, we're gonna send this tape into the front office. Like my man Jimmy needs to get in line because I listen. I didn't think about that name at all, but we are getting to that point where we know now that they're going to have to be creative. And let me ask you this before we even get to Alec Bohm, because I really want to touch on that a lot. Because I do feel like now he has to be gone, and I want to get everybody's opinion on that. But do you think? And I hate to say, because Dombro has been successful everywhere he's gone. He's not a guy that usually misreads a board, but do you think possibly he misread several different situations? Because if there's nobody really out there, right, and there's nothing that it's almost like did they kind of underestimate how this was going to go?
I think they probably had to. I mean,
right? Makes sense.
You can't think that he didn't want Kyle Tucker.
Exactly.
And it's like, so he didn't he wanted him. Obviously, he'd have to want him, and if he doesn't want him, you just fire him now. but not getting him, and not getting him, like not even being close.
No.
Like if that rumored deal was the deal, and there was no counter, or it just pissed off Houston enough that they never picked up the phone again. That was just a huge miscalculation. Because I don't think you can't miss on guys like Tucker, even if you are taking the chance of losing him in a year. So what? You've got him for this year. It would be a move that would put you back. I don't know about on par with Los Angeles, but it would put you right there. Maybe 1A to their 1. You can't. You're going to have to, with the moves they've made after winning a championship.
Yep.
The Phillies cannot come. They can't even come close to being stand pat coming back this year.
They can't.
They need to make an aggressive move. There's still moves to be made, but not many in the outfield. That's why, Harper going to right field again might have to be the move, because, they missed on a guy like Tucker, which is, again, that ruined my day. In fact, it almost ruined my week last week.
It was bad.
It was just, it was like, man, when a guy like Cat came in, because we first heard the rumors 2 weeks ago when we were here.
Yep.
And Tucker's name got floated. And number one, I was like, I'm not even convinced he's really on the market, because, Houston they have a legacy really of letting their guys walk. So they'll play their contracts out and then let them walk, like Correa and like George Springer. And
what you're talking about bringing Carlos Correa back.
Yeah. And what they just did with Bregman.
Yeah.
So I was not convinced right away when the rumors first came out that they were real.
Right.
But then once they became real, Dombrowski and Middleton, and they should have just been like, all right, listen, this is where, one of the prospects, one of the top 3, not Painter. So one, either 1 or 3, Miller or Crawford, have to be in they have to be in the, and you take that risk, and in Middleton, you're like, hey, I was willing to go, I don't know, maybe Middleton was willing to go 600 with Soto, and that's why he never engaged, because it got to 600 fast.
It did.
Like, right.
It went real fast.
Yeah.
Real fast.
But it's like, hey, so you might have to go 400 to 450 with Tucker to keep him. But you know what? Again, you can make the argument that as an all-around player, you're going to get better value from Tucker.
Yes.
Over a long haul. You wouldn't have to give him 15 years either.
No, that's the thing. Exactly.
Tucker, you probably give him 10 years.
Yep.
And maybe it's judged like where it's 10 years and it's 400 or something like that. Maybe it's more than that even, because the obviously spending is not something that the owners are shy about doing now.
The money.
When you look at those top 15 free agents, I said the only 2 that came in under estimate, and the services out there that do these estimates are usually pretty on target.
Yep.
There's only 2 that have been under budget or under estimation, and they're both backup catchers. So when I say they're top 50, they were 48 and 49 on the list. But you look at Soto, he came on 165 million over what they thought. Blake Snell, the same amount of years, but 22 million. Look at another one. Max Fried, 2 extra years than the estimates. It's 62 million, more dollars. These are Nate Eovaldi got 1 extra year and 31 extra million.
Eovaldi. Like,
exactly.
Think about that.
Yeah. He got 3 and 75 as a mid-30s pitcher.
Jesus.
Yep. So the money that is being spent right now is crazy. The fact that the fact that Middleton says he wants his damn trophy back, and that he hasn't spent yet, is it's like but there's still guys out there. Like right now I'd be all over Tanner Scott. I'd be like, you know what? And if he wants 20 million for 4 years, you know what? Give it to him.
You're gonna have
because
to give
what's
it
the
to
difference of to middle, when you look at the Phillies roster and what they're going to spend on that roster, the payroll is, going to be somewhere around 300 million. What's really the difference of 4 years and 64 million and 4 years and 80 million?
Exactly.
It's really just a rounding error when you're talking 300 million annually. So, even a guy like Michael Conforto, who's a name that
Michael.
that name meant something like 4 years ago.
I was just going to say, now we're relegated to Michael Conforto numbers.
So Michael Conforto was estimated to have 2-year deal for 18 million, so 9 million a year. Now he only got a 1-year deal, but it was for $17 million, almost double what the industry thought he was going to get.
That's insane.
Yeah.
It's got to be a sports betting revenue, man. It's really got to be a sport revenue, man. Like that's really fueling this. Al says, can you all please tell me that Crawford is part of the untouchable list? I don't know, man. I don't think he is.
I don't think so either. I think I tell you what, like I said, I would have gladly given him up for Tucker because Crawford at his best might be half the player that Tucker is.
I agree.
Today.
I agree.
So I would have given up Crawford in a heartbeat for Tucker, even for only potentially 1 year and losing.
He's the one guy I would say that I'm kind of okay. Like out of those, he's the one guy I'm not like exactly. Look, my man Dougie Fresh checking it says dump Crawford. But he is like he's the one guy that I don't think we can't part without, man.
So listen, I think Crawford is going to be a very good player. Is he?
Not this. I don't disagree.
Is he going to be an all-time great?
No,
I don't think so.
Me neither.
Is he going to? But could he? When you look at, he would fix the center field problem. He will be a 300-ish hitter. Maybe not right off. Right his rookie season, but he's got 300 in his bat. He's very fast. He's a great defender. Maybe someday he gets to 20 home runs. And be somewhat like his dad.
So I mean, we're not talking about he's not
so he's
Rojas.
He's potentially he's not Rojas. There's no chance he's Rojas.
No.
But and he could solve the leadoff problem for all the people who've been screaming that Kyle Schwarber can't be the leadoff guy.
That's true.
Crawford could be that guy. In fact, he's likely that guy. But he's probably an all-star player at best, which is again that's fantastic. It's great to get to draft a guy and who becomes an all-star player. That's that's what you're hoping for.
Yep.
So I think he can be a very important player for the Phillies if they retain him. But at the same time, if you can get a Kyle Tucker dangling him,
you got to get it.
Do because Kyle Tucker has a chance to be a Hall of Famer.
Yes, I agree. Well, but one thing I will say though, the thing that you just said is one thing I hang a lot of credit on, right? So it's lineage, and you talked about his dad, right? Yep. Obviously, Carl Crawford, and you're thinking about that and saying, when you have the lineage, the odds of not hitting your ceiling are very, very slim. You know what I mean? So the odds are high that you are going to hit your ceiling, but the difference is like you're saying, like I agree, you have to weigh it out. What is his ceiling? Not just what the team is. What is his ceiling compared to what the other guy's ceiling is? And Tucker's just a more polished player, and he's never going to be that guy. So I'm okay with that. Now, I want to really get in this Alec Bohm situation because my man Dougie Fresh second in says I'm really disappointed with Alec. I had high hopes for him. Gut feeling says hang on to him a little longer. I think he's got it. Just has to find it. Now, I'm going to say this in twofold. Number one, I wasn't a trade Alec Bohm guy. I think Alec Bohm has the skills and the talent to be a very good, not great, but very, very good player in this league for a long time. The problem is two things. Number one, money, right? Based on what, is he going to be worth what his market value will be? But here's the thing right now. I want to ask you this, Jim, and I want to ask everybody checking in because it seems like this is a good topic for everybody. Knowing what supposedly, again, we don't know this for a fact, supposedly what was wrong with Bohm was he was very immature at times, didn't take criticism well, didn't understand how to calm emotions. He's a young player, right? We understand that. However, there's also other young players on that team that didn't go down that path. And now your name is out in national media. Now your name is being as you're getting thrown away everywhere. I mean, everybody's shopping out Bohm. You're getting thrown here. You were in this trade. You're in that trade. You can't bring him back, bro. Like I'm sorry. Like I like the guy, but mentally, if he's already a mental midget, well, then what's this going to do to his confidence? Like, you really think he's going to not have an attitude? Like, I almost feel like because of what happened, you almost can't bring them back.
I do wonder if they're past the point of no return. Like, you think about a relationship with somebody, even an employer-employee relationship. There's going to be a breaking point. And if you know that, hey, I was offered in 5 different deals and, none of the deals came through, can I just come back with you? I was like, I don't think so. I think you're right, Tony. And listen, I was like you. I was not someone who wanted to trade Bohm at the beginning of the offseason.
Agreed.
I thought it was perfect that his last 2 years of control lined up with kind of like Aiden Miller's.
Yes.
Everything's there. Exactly. But I never thought, that the Phillies should sign him long term, as a free agent. You're not going to want to pay him market prices because I don't think he's ever going to be that player.
No.
He's probably going to make more money than he's worth.
100%
in 2 years. But I don't know that they can bring him back. And here's the problem. So here's the problem. They're in this catch-22.
Yep.
If you bring him back, it's probably not going to work out well. But if you trade him,
you're not getting value.
Exactly. You're going to get terrible value, and the replacement options are extremely few and far between, and none of them are good.
No.
We looked at Nolan Arenado 2 weeks ago.
Oh, yep.
We were talking about that.
Yep.
And I don't want Nolan Arenado.
No.
2 reasons. 1, he's expensive. 2, he's an average player now.
He's
an
shot.
average hitter. Yeah. He's and 3, now Houston supposedly going after him. I think they've just admitted that they're not getting Bregman.
No.
So now they're thinking Arenado can be a nice little piece. And again, in Houston, that might play because of the configuration of the field.
Right.
Arenado, a dead pull hitter, that short porch in right field.
Yep.
He can either bomb some home runs.
Which he could have done here too,
wall.
So I mean, in
essence, it's not as small though.
Right.
So you're talking about an extra 20 feet.
Be safe, guys. Have a good night.
So an extra 20 feet of distance for a guy with bad bat speed and bad exit velocity, probably means he might be able to hit 6 or 7 more home runs in Houston than he could here. So I don't want I never wanted Arenado, but there's really not other options. I don't want to sign Bregman either.
I have a
number's going to be crazy.
I have a bad feeling that's where we're going.
Well,
I do. I'm not. I just have a bad feeling that this was always the pivot. Because I constantly say where there's smoke, there's fire. You heard it. We heard it. The Bregman stuffs are coming out, and now it's kind of quiet. But I think it's almost like, okay, well, is he not going to get the number he expects? Now we didn't get this deal done. Now this is going to be our guy. Yeah. I almost feel like you want to spend. We're spending this. I don't want Bregman, man.
Exactly. Listen. I want to spend when it makes sense to spend.
Yeah.
So I don't want to spend on a Bregman who's already had. I think we talked about it a few weeks back. He's had 2 cliffs in his career already.
Yep.
So he was like playing at a Hall of Fame level in the 18-19, and was that trash can related or not?
Yeah.
Who knows? But so he had that fall off
to
become really more what I'd call an all-star level player. And then last year he took another drop with his walk rate being cut in half, which is crazy.
Yep.
So you got to wonder, it's like, do you want to sign a guy who's already had 2 declines to a really a top of the market salary? No, I don't.
I don't. I don't. You want to sign him?
All right. So yeah, but I'm worried too, though, Tony, because you're right. They're running out of options. Again, there's still a bunch of top free agents left.
Yes,
but not at the positions the Phillies really need them.
Not what we wanted.
Exactly.
Not what we wanted. And I'm not trying to sound spoiled here, like we just want, but this was a very, and still is very critical offseason where you have guys that are kind of in that lingo with age and money and salary. And, now I will say this, a lot of people have said, and me as one, that I still would take this rotation when healthy up against anybody in baseball. And I don't know if possibly maybe there's, well, you know what, we're just going to hang on a pitch and hopefully, some some adjustments within the lineup, kind of make it like, because we're already paying all these guys to produce. But I don't know, Jim. Like I'm thinking that they really need to do something special here, and I just don't know what that is. And please don't tell me it's going to be Pete Alonso.
No, it can't be Pete Alonso. It cannot be Pete Alonso. Like, that's why when I talked about moving Harper to right field, I didn't even bring up his name.
Oh my God!
I do not want Pete Alonso
because I keep hearing that, man.
Yeah.
Like it's getting scary. Yeah. Like that we keep hearing it. Yes. I don't like it.
Christian Walker makes so much more sense than Alonso if they moved Harper to right field, because you know what do you want? You want bad defensive outfield and then a bad first baseman on top of it?
Please.
You can't do that. And then you have you know Trey Turner, you know, has not been a great shortstop. So now all of a sudden, and then you know who plays third? So
right. That's I don't say who plays third if Bohm gets traded.
That's right. You could end up with like the worst defensive team in the league, in which case you have the best pitchers who are giving up all these unearned runs. Because,
that's a good point.
So
that's a good point. I didn't even think about that. Oof. Adam says, is there a chance the Phillies just run it back next year?
Oh my God. I hope not.
It sure seems like it, though.
You want to suck the air out of the room?
Wow.
You know, the bank could be you know, it could be the opposite of what it's been the last few postseasons when everybody's like, you know, we have no shot.
Let me ask you this. And this is just an off the cuff question. Now that I'm looking at this question and like you're running it back, and you know, all those years with the Braves winning all the pennants, right? But no rings. Did they ever did they just keep running it back? Do you remember off the top of your head where they're like these giant moves that they made, or were they stayed just consistent with the same players?
Yeah. So there were I don't think there were giant moves. You know, they were definitely focused obviously on pitching.
Yep.
Guys like, I think I'm trying to think back to that era.
Yeah, I know.
Ron Gant, things like that.
Ron Gant. Yep.
You know,
Terry Pendleton played a big role, right?
For a couple years.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, they brought guys in.
But they were always, you know, never start. You know, the Braves could never like sign a star level play. You know, really, Maddox was the only big free agent they signed during that.
Well, wasn't it
run? I think
was it Teixeira?
So
did they spend big on Teixeira and McGriff?
So
I can't remember.
Well, you know, I don't know that they spent big on Teixeira, because I think didn't they trade for him
from Texas?
Yeah,
it might have. Yeah, that's
because he was a disappointment.
That's right.
In Texas.
Yep.
So I think they got him cheap.
Yep.
And then kept him until he was a free agent, or maybe they signed him once to an extension before he went to New York.
They had youth. I mean, Andrew Jones, Tipper Jones, right? I mean, they had the youth, and like you said, you know, it was the pitching. But that's what makes me look, though. Like, there you go, pitching. So are we, you know, do you feel like maybe we are emulating that Braves kind of vibe here?
Well, and again, I think to a point, yes, but we don't want to emulate that vibe because
they didn't win.
We don't want to make the 16 straight playoffs and win one.
Right. Exactly.
You know, that's I think the position they're in. If they run it back, that's where we are. We become, you know, I would think we're probably a wild card team because, you know, thinking that, you know, the Mets aren't done.
Right.
So there's going to be more acquisitions that they make. So, you know, and the Braves, if they get everybody back healthy, are still going to be tough.
Yes.
You know, so I still look at the Phillies as probably a wild card team if they run it back. And, you know, if the right team gets hot, you know, the wild card obviously can win the World Series, but you can't expect it.
No.
You know, it would just be like, hey, we're happy to get to the dance and we're going to go home alone. You know,
sucks,
no parade.
Man.
So
I just don't want to be disappointed. Like this has got that Sixers vibe to it, man, which I hate to say it, man, but it does. It's got that, you know, obviously a much better team. It just has that vibe. Are we at the peak and we're now going down the hill, or like, do we have a couple more years at that peak, man? It's scary.
Well, and you know, there's a decent transition to the next, you know, to keep us from falling off the mountain. True. You know, with guys, you know, if you keep Crawford, if you keep Miller, Painter, you know, those kind of guys can help you extend, you know, but there's two things about it. Number one, they have to hit the way you think they're going to hit.
Yes.
And then two, you know, you have to hope that the decline from the Turners and the Harpers, you know, is gradual.
Yes, especially Turner.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. If Turner stops hitting, that's going to be a really tough contract.
Yes, very tough.
Yeah. Harper, I'm not worried about hitting. Harper, I worry more about injuries.
Yeah,
Which is one of the other reasons I don't love him going to right field. I think
that
first base
scares
helps
me. I don't
keep him.
like that.
Yeah. Now again, you can argue that most of Harper's injuries, at least later in his career, haven't been from running into walls. It's been from violent swings, which is again still a concern.
Yes.
But he has run into walls, and he needed the Tommy John surgery or the brace surgery because of the throws from the outfield. So
exactly.
If we can keep him at first base, you're more likely to keep him healthy. But Turner's concerning. He's already not a good defender. Maybe he's sick of hearing that and works on it in the offseason and comes back, and shocks us all. That'd be awesome.
Hope so, man.
Yeah, but
Hope
you can't expect it. He's past age 30 now, and there's going to be a decline. And if the bat just isn't the same anymore, then we're going to be paying a lot of money for a guy who's going to be with the team for a long time and not providing the production you thought you were going to get.
Yeah, that's going to suck. Our man Adam checking in, giving us some information here. Says the Braves got Fred McGriff from the Padres for Donnie Elliott and Melvin Nieves.
Yeah.
Wow.
Great trade.
Wow. Wow. That's unbelievable. But hold on, man. My man, like Adam's checking in right here with some breaking news here. This isn't Phillies related, but I mean, look, you gotta, we talked about this. Paul George right now just passes Jason Terry for 10th all-time on all-time three-pointer list, which is interesting. I mean, listen, we gotta have small wins in Sixer land, Jim.
Exactly.
We gotta have small wins. But listen, man, what do you think? I real fast before we get into future, but Jordan Romano, where did this come from? Like all of a sudden, like why didn't the Toronto Blue Jays bring him back?
I think money more than anything else. They've got two big names that they have to either sign or let go in free agency next year.
Vlad.
So you got Vlad as one. Now Bichette's the other.
Yep.
Now Bichette's more likely to be let go because he had a terrible year last season. If he doesn't turn it around, he's definitely going to hit the market. But Vlad is, I think I just heard a rumor he turned down like 10 years, 360 million. So, if you you're going to have to buck up, maybe in the Judge range.
Yep.
9 and 360, 10 and 400, that kind of thing. They can't bring a Jordan Romano back. And they did re-sign what's his last name? Yimi Garcia, maybe. They did just bring him back. He's a decent reliever. I don't know that he's a closer, but they're looking at probably going in different directions to build their pen.
Makes sense. I mean, you can't spend everywhere, man. You can't spend everywhere. But what do we do here, man? Like, we're looking at this. What do you think as far as, it's December 16th. Does anything happen before the holidays? Or you think this is kind of like it just sits here because of the holidays, and then we go into 2025 just hoping to make a move?
Well, it'd be a nice Christmas present for everybody, right? If
they
made a move before Christmas. So I don't, I've been shocked they've been this quiet to date. It would be nice if they just, wrapped up Tanner Scott, so at least we've addressed one need. The bullpen would be in a lot better shape then. But I don't know, the Cubs, they probably control the market right now, because they've got the outfielders. If anybody's looking for a bat, in the outfield, that there's really no other option other than trade with the Cubs. The free agent options in the outfield aren't fantastic. So
not excited, Jim. You're not getting me excited yet.
Well, listen, Seiya Suzuki would have me very excited.
Yeah, I hope so, man.
But like I said, the Cubs want to trade Bellinger more than they want to trade Suzuki. I think you just need to convince them, put the right package together. The fact that you'd have him for 2 years is good. And again, the fact that you might help in the Sasaki, if you tell me that we come back let's say in mid-January, because that's when Sasaki is gonna sign.
Yep.
If we have Seiya Suzuki and Roki Sasaki and Jordan Romano, and that's all we did, you know what? I'm going to feel a heck of a lot better about that than if it's Jordan Romano and Bryce Harper back to the outfield, and even Christian Walker at first base. I'm not, that is not going to excite me as much as bringing in some new talent and keeping Harper at first.
I agree. I want to keep him at first and do anything we can to keep him there and prolong his career, because that is our number one investment for sure, man. 100%. But listen, man, it's been great. We're going to wrap this up. We're at the 3-hour mark, man. A fantastic show. Any other points we want to get into before we get out of here, Jim?
I don't think so. The only interesting rumor I heard is the Marlins are looking to trade pitchers.
Really?
One is
there's a shock.
Yeah, Jesus Luzardo is one of them. And I've heard them talking to the Cubs. Now I don't think they would. If they deal with the Cubs, I don't think the Marlins are looking at looking for veteran outfielders.
Okay.
So I think this would be a different deal, probably for prospects. The other name though that's very interesting is Sandy Alcantara.
Oh, Alcantara. Yeah, I always set that up too. Yeah. Alcantara, Alcantara, whatever. Yeah, exactly.
There we go.
Yep.
So
he's a stud.
He's coming off of Tommy John.
Yep.
He should be ready for early in the season. I don't know if he's going to be ready opening day or not, but somewhere early in the season he should be ready. And he is a stud. So that would be another guy that would be like, wow, that's a difference maker.
Yes.
And I'd have to look to see, because this I saw just probably waiting here at the bar for my segment. So I didn't get a chance to look at like how many years more he's signed for. I think it's at least 1 or 2 minimum. And because the Marlins actually did lock him up.
That's right.
A few years back. So,
and nowadays you don't have to worry about Tommy John. It's not like you get Tommy John and you're done. I mean, you can come back stronger than you were at the beginning.
Exactly. And then, he was throwing 99 before Tommy John. If he's throwing 100 now, that's awesome.
Oh man, that'd be fantastic, man. That would be great.
So if you're going to go on and on pitching, hey, you can do a lot worse than
I was going to say, if the bats aren't there, maybe you got to get with the arms, man. Yeah. Well, we shall see. One thing for sure, it's going to continue to be active. Adam, thank you for checking in. This is a great show. Tony, Jimmy, Matt, great points and information as always, man. And Tony Cutillo show live right here every Monday. Pike's Pub, man. It's been a fantastic shout out, obviously, to Jimmy Mack for being here for the entire night, coming on for this last hour, giving us some great information. The Suzuki wagon is in, and the train is in. Let's get the hashtag Suzuki. Hashtag trade for Suzuki, right? We shall see. My man JB checking in as always, coming here live, talking some great NBA and basketball. And as always, man, Japan with the big bets. He already hit on Drake London. He talked about Drake London, and Drake London anytime touchdown. That's what we're talking about. That's what we do. We make people some money here as well as Pike Balls. For everybody that here from the crowd, for everybody behind the bar, but it was here earlier left. Everybody have a fantastic week. And like we always do, man, we'll catch you back here next Monday from some more of the Tony Cutillo Show live with Fred.